please welcome my guest for today, Reya. Hello.
That's me.
It is you. It is indeed you, Reya. Welcome on in.
You forgot the most important part of October. It's my birthday.
Hey, I forgot about that. Yes, indeed. Well, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. It's on the 29th. I am expecting my wonderful chat to send me many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gifts. And if they don't, I'll never stream again.
Well, the other question is, when is Lilypad's birthday? Is Lilypad also the 29th?
I don't know. I've never considered it.
We need to figure out Lilypad's birthday.
You're right. I fucked up.
Well, actually,
Holy shit.
Well, what we do is we say that you and Lilypad share a birthday. That way, double gifts.
No, I would assume you would get more gifts if they're on different days. It's like people that have the birthday on Christmas, right? They hate themselves.
Okay, so in that case, just make it 6 months apart.
Okay, 6 months. Perfect. I'll set it up.
Yeah, just spread it out as evenly as possible. There you go. Well,
okay.
Well, welcome
we're good then.
I'm sure most folks in chat are already familiar with you, but for those who might not be, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Reya. I'm a Empress VTuber who is very, very competitive. You'll often find me playing, competitive games on my stream like Dota, Apex, blah, blah, blah. I also really love RPGs, and because I played competitive games for like the last 8 to 9 years of my life, I have become very far behind on RPGs, so I'm finally getting to play them. We're doing what we can. It's been really fun. I'm very positive PMA gamer. Like as much as I'll scream at a game, when I get flamed, I'm usually kind of chill with it. We're good vibes. It's good vibes.
Yes, most definitely. And like you mentioned, you've been playing games competitively for a while. You've been streaming for a while too, but you actually just had your VTuber debut about a month ago. I think it was a month ago today, quite possibly. And you did some very interesting stuff during your debut that I've seen my fair share of VTuber debuts, and the fact that you incorporate a whole bunch of interactive stuff all the way down to having a full-on RPG battle as part of your debut, using it to showcase the different just chat interactive capabilities. You have a whole bunch of different locales, and you had a whole story of it. So I'm curious, had you seen something like that on another debut and that inspired you, or was this an idea that you had yourself? Where did this all come from?
Well, it kind of spawned from like why I wanted to be part of why I wanted to be a VTuber in the first place. Like, I think if I had just gotten everything together with the intention of simply streaming with an avatar, I wouldn't have been satisfied, or I would have thought it would be like a waste of time for me. I definitely had like the grand ideas in my head of I want to make things, I want to tell stories, I want to do stuff, I want to have characters. Like, I got a rival enemy character designed up because I want to do stuff with her in the future. And I did stuff with her in the debut. Like, those things are very alluring to me. I love, like, I don't know, my whole life I've grown up like wanting to make stuff like that. Like, if I go back, let's say, how old am I? Oh my god. Like, if I go back like 15 years or something, when I'm on the internet for like the first-ish time, there's some old website called Pixo. It's shut down now, but it allowed you to create your own websites. I used to love that stuff. I used to make my own websites. I used to try and make them as interactive as possible. I remember I specifically tried to create a website which was like a choose-your-own-adventure game where, it's obviously complicated because it's not built for that, but I was like, oh, we're gonna start here.
Navigate
you're gonna click this
pages,
link. You're gonna go to different. Yeah,
just to choose your own adventure novel, but with web pages instead of normal pages.
Yeah, and it was hard as fuck to make, but I that's the kind of stuff I've always really loved. I like, even before VTubing became like a thing, I used to think like, oh, it would be cool to be able to make content on like YouTube with like a character instead of like a human, like drawings or something. Like, this type of creative stuff is so. It like captures my interest completely. So when I did my debut, I was like, I want this to be like something no one's seen before, or like something that is so above the level of what people have usually seen. Because I watched a lot of debuts, right? Because I wanted to be inspired, and most are the same. It's like show the model
You
from
have the
bottom to-
PowerPoint, you have the model display.
Yeah,
and,
the slides. Yeah.
And to be fair, you had the slides, which are still good. That there's a reason people use it, because it's a very efficient way to get the information across. But at the same time, you did then also have this entire narrative built around it, and that you had sort of the slides at the end to sweep up all the extra parts that weren't able to be built into that, but that the vast majority of the stream was you going on this little adventure to find and rescue Lilypad.
Yeah, we're gonna start small with the plot. It kind of went through a few iterations of what I wanted the plot to be and how much I wanted to do stuff, but yeah, I'm really happy with what it ended up being. I think my like one of the challenges I had that I wasn't 100% pleased with was I had this massive battle at the end, which was kind of like the grand spectacle of like the debut, and I thought it was great and it went well, but I struggled to pad out the rest. Like it's kind of like I had the inventory system where it was like, okay, I know that on this scene and this scene when we go there, I want to find an item and do a little like RP-ish story stuff with that. But other than that, it's kind of like how much interactive stuff can you do on the other screens? I didn't have enough time to really flesh out that to make that side of the stream more padded. It was kind of a lot of like, I'm showing you around, please don't lose interest before we get to the RPG battle at the end, thank you! Keep watching!
Well, even so, like I said, simply doing what you did was already something that would be above and beyond, and that's not to say that other people don't put effort into their debuts, but that you were being particularly mindful with how you were presenting things, and I think with that as your foundation, that goodness knows, if you were interested, that you could make just narrative-driven streams in the future, and obviously, they take a lot of work. That's not something that you would be able to do every day, maybe not even every month, but that there is a lot of potential there, and that if you wanted to go back to that particular well, that you don't need a debut to do it.
Oh yeah, I really want to do more of those in the future, so I have in my mind there's like debut quality streams, which it was a lot of effort, right? It took like a month of solid work, and it took a lot of money because I had to commission like assets and stuff, like the animations for the characters during the fight and stuff like that. So there's like that level of quality which I would like to do for like significant like story lore ideas that I have. But I also would like to be able to make a more sustainable version of those to do more often. Not like you said, you can't do them every day, you can't do even like once a month is a bit hard, so even if I did it like once every 2 months, I'd like to create a smaller sustainable version to do during that time frame, and then maybe like every 3 to 4 months I can do like a bigger one. I'm working with a programmer friend right now to make the bigger streams more like easy to make, because oh my god, it was really
Well, I have to, man. So
it was really messy.
I know that there is a program called Violet, or Violet Tools, and I think someone else has mentioned this to you along the way, but from what I understand, you didn't use that in your debut, so I'm curious, what was the back-end setup for that?
Oh, Violet, yeah, I looked at that. I don't think it's like usable right now, so I couldn't tell what it was other than like a overlaid text thing. I don't know, but I saw they did other stuff, so I was confused, but I couldn't download it. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, it was just a mix of OBS and StreamerBot and like plugins, lots of plugins. Just sort of, I don't know, like if I wanted something to move on the screen, I had to get the thing, add like a move source, set the coordinates for each point, and then those become like, I think, they might become filters. It's been a while now. And then I had to use StreamerBot to be like, when this button's pressed, activate this and this, play this sound, move this here, hide this thing, show this thing, activate this filter on this other thing, so it does this thing.
You're basically programming a proper game at this point, just through something that isn't meant to be a game engine. Yeah,
it was bad, but I think I could definitely, like, if I had to do it again right now, I think I could do it faster and maybe like less clunkily.
You've invented the wheel at this point, or at least you know how to make a wheel, so making it again won't be quite as intensive. It'll still be a lot of work, but you won't have to go through quite as much of the learning and discovery phases.
Yeah, that shit was so stupid. It was like, for example, there was one filter, like if I wanted something to move, you're not allowed to apply that plugin to individual sources in OBS. You could only apply it to like I think a scene or a group or something, and that would just cause like a massive headache because I had to sort everything into things and move them around, and then I'd be like, why isn't it working? I don't know. Oh my god, that's like 20 minutes gone. Okay.
This is why I don't do computer programming. I took one programming course in high school, and basically that, but probably still not quite as bad because at least, code is meant to be written in a certain way. But even then, I knew it frustrated me, so I decided to not go into programming any farther. So a lot of respect for the amount of time and effort that went into that. But I think the end result was something really fantastic. And I know you actually got a little lucky along the way, too, because in that random battle, or rather in that final battle, you had a random element with certain spells being used, and that you wound up hitting all of the different options, and apparently that wasn't actually behind the scenes tampering where you meant for it to hit everything. It just fell out that way.
There was RNG I controlled, and there was RNG I didn't control, and yeah, that one, the emote lottery one, yeah, I had 3 things, and I kind of realized as we played it out, like, oh yeah, they're not going to use this spell multiple times because 2 of them self-damage, so they'll probably give up. But they ended up going for it 3 times. It hit all 3 things. I don't know how, I don't know why. I'm grateful, I'm happy.
Sometimes it just works.
Wait, did I tamper with it? Uh-oh. I actually tampered with it on the 3rd one. Okay, so it hit the first 2 times it rolled randomly onto separate ones.
Did you just hide the other options so that was the only thing in the list at that point?
Well, I didn't know how to do that, so what I did was in StreamerBot, you can have an action that when it plays, it randomly chooses between, like, you can put sub-actions into a group, and then each group has its own chance to be played, like, when you set it to random, to RNG. And you can change the odds of the group. So I think I remember when they chose to do magic, I was like, what the fuck? Why did you use magic here? What's wrong with you? So I quickly went into StreamerBot and turned the odds to like 0.0000001 or something for the other 2.
Okay, so you didn't necessarily remove them from the equation, but you made them effectively non-existent just statistically at that point.
Yeah, because it was really cool if it played out a certain way, and if they ruined it by doing something else, it would have been a little anticlimactic.
But it all came together very nicely. Do you have any plans in mind already for a broader overarching story, or these different chapters that you'll probably just write as you go?
Yeah, I have an overarching plot, very non-detailed one right now. Like, I kind of know where I want things to end up and do, because obviously with what I can do by myself, like, let's say I manage to do 3 big streams a year, right? That's so little that I can't afford to have like a grand scheme of things where I like yeah, I want this to happen and this to happen. It's like I'm just not gonna be able to get around to it, or this is gonna take like 10 years. So I'm keeping it relatively simple. I'm gonna have like how did my model just do that? The idea is, oh my god, someone, okay, hold on.
Did you leave the redeems on?
Yeah, I have a redeem on my channel, but Rorman just went and did it in my Twitch.
This isn't the first time that has happened on my show.
Dude, Raw's so lucky. I opened StreamerBot before we started this, because I was like, oh, I need this to like move my model around just in case. And then it just so happens, okay, well, yeah, that's funny. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I can't do a big story.
Then that we are sadly not going to be getting the Reya cinematic universe, it seems.
Maybe if I get big in the future. But I have a plot I can play out maybe through my own stream stuff on my own, and then if that like finishes, or I don't know, then I can expand it into like new plots and stories. That's the nice thing. I kind of left like my general character and setting to be one where anything can happen. It's like, oh, I'm an empress, I have a castle, I'm in a fantasy land. It's like, okay, well that's like the setting of 100 million fantasy books.
We've got broad strokes building blocks to work with here, and that, okay, Empress, that means that you can justify basically doing anything and having large, fancy locales, budget isn't an issue in universe or anything, and that you can then just figure out where you want to go from there.
Exactly, you understand.
You mentioned that creating stories is something that you enjoy doing, and I think that's kind of interesting considering what you do outside of VTubing, or sort of where some of your foundation is. That one thing you have been open about, and that this is one of those things about VTubing, that there is no wrong way to be a VTuber, and that some folks keep things to just the model, just their lore. What you have done, though, is that you've sort of transitioned over from being a facecam streamer and doing other work, mostly related to Dota, or rather Dota 2, and that you are an analyst. And in its own way, I see being an analyst as being a storyteller.
Yeah, actually, yeah. My focus when doing analyst work in Dota is actually storytelling. Because some people focus hard on the, like, game knowledge and the, like, I'm going to explain why this hero was picked and why this hero is good. Or some people focus on stats. Like, I'm going to tell you all the reasons, or not all the reasons, but, like, I'm going to tell you how much this hero has done and blah, blah, blah. And I would read, like, 100 player interviews and make notes on them all. And I would bring that to the panel. Because I was more interested in, like, telling the players' opinions on stuff, because for me, personally, in analyst Dota work, I was like, no one gives a shit about me. That's kind of like why I went to VTubing a bit instead of Dota. It's because Dota is all about the players and the teams, and the game, and VTubing is more about yourself. And I'm like, I have things I like to do and I want to do, and I want things to be about myself a bit.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's like, it's a passion thing. So, but yeah, like, that's how I understood Dota events. So I would try and find out as much as I could about players and their opinions on things. So if we had a conversation like, hey, Hero X has been picked, you know, and then whatever smart guy would say, Hero X was picked 100 times this tournament or something, and Hero X is really strong because X and Y, and then I could chime in like, well, actually, this professional player said this about Hero X, and I find that's probably more like interesting for the audience, because they're like, oh, I like the player, that's the guy I care about. He thinks this, that's cool.
Yeah, and being able to actually just create a story or take things that are not necessarily just statistics, and obviously in-coverage statistics are very good and useful, but being able to find those points of personality, those different interactions, those things that help not only make just the players but the entire scene feel more real and relatable, and that creating those conversations probably helps make things a bit easier at the desk, and that way you're not necessarily grasping for straws. Okay, we need to buy a little bit more time while they're finishing setup, and that you can create those conversations, and that you do your homework and you do your research when actually preparing for all that.
Yeah, I think it's nice that you can approach desk work in so many ways of what you want to do. Obviously, like, there's the overarching stories of an event that everyone collaborates together to do. You know, like, this player has been at every single, like, big, you know, like, our big event is TI, right? And up until this year, there was a player that had attended every single one on his team. And that's always been a thing, like, oh, he's reached top 3, oh my god, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna win, like, again?
Is this gonna be the one? Or these teams have faced off X number of times, and this team has won 3 of the last 5. Are they gonna be able to keep up their streak? And that you have, in any given sport, whether it be esports or just normal conventional sports, that storylines are able to build themselves a lot of times, and that definitely does give you some good foundation to work with. But sometimes you don't always have that, and it's just, okay, it's the start of a new season, we don't want to be just talking all the time, well, it's a new season, anything can happen, and that buys you about 1 or 2 lines, and then you have to find stuff to, you know, really be the meat and potatoes of what's going to be talked about.
I found that, at least as time went on, I found that there's always storylines. Maybe not for every team, obviously, but there's always like, I don't know, say a region does their roster shuffle, come into a new season. There's always stuff. It's like, oh, this guy's joined this team. He's from a different region, whatever. Like, that's cool. How's he gonna perform? And then I will recall like interview stuff. I'll be like, here's what X player said about this region. Here's what X player said about this region. Like, blah blah blah. It's obviously interesting. I will say though, it kind of, that's something that's a little boring to me. Is that whilst it's obviously fun to hear the opinions of the players and express that, the storylines are, like you said, existing. Like, they're not coming from my head. I'm not inventing like, oh my god, like this team.
You're not writing
cool.
these stories.
Yeah, which is a bit boring and limiting, especially when there's like only kind of so much that can happen in Dota, for example. Like the storylines usually fall into like, this team has performed in this way, will this trend continue or whatever? This team has this player, how will this player do? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you have the same types of building blocks, and it's going to be, all right, the names or the regions or the champions are going to be different for any given event, but then I could see how that could become a bit colored by numbers after a while.
Yeah. That was probably the thing that stood out to me the most doing Dota for like, I mean, some of my colleagues have been doing it for like, I don't know, 8 years maybe plus. I've been doing it for 1 3/4 now, maybe, no, I'm about to hit 2 years. And I'm just like, God, I feel like I'm doing the same thing every event. I'm not finding this fun anymore. How do you guys do it?
Well, at the very least, I'm glad that being self-aware and being able to realize, okay, I'm hitting a snag here, or that I'm starting to, I don't know if burnout would necessarily be the proper term here, of just, I feel like I'm being limited and looking to use those skills in different ways and find greener pastures as you have, like, at least you weren't sitting around and being like, okay, I'm not having fun, but I'm going to trudge through it out of a sense of obligation, and that you obviously are still playing Dota, it's still something that you are active in, but that you are broadening your horizons a bit and you're allowing yourself to try different things, and that maybe the difference will allow those times that you are still playing and working with Dota, that they will hopefully seem a little bit fresher since you are hopping around and not necessarily spending all your time just on that.
Well, well, I would actually, I'm planning on not playing Dota anymore after the end of this month, actually.
Well, that's very fair, and that, at the same time, I'm glad that you're able to make that decision for yourself. That, you know, obviously it's something that has been a big part of your life, and that, you know, as they say, the only constant is change. Of just, things are going to shift, and that it's a good thing that you are able to recognize, all right, this is something that does not necessarily hold the joy that it once did, and that you're able to shift over and take the things that you did enjoy and move it over. And obviously that doesn't necessarily mean it's a forever thing, that maybe after some amount of time that you'll decide, maybe I want to go back, and maybe not, and that's okay. But that you've definitely been making your schedules much broader and going the route of a variety streamer as opposed to just a specific Dota 2 streamer even now, and that I think it's going to be a very interesting journey for you as you go through this bit of a change.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I definitely could see myself coming back to Dota. It's not like I'm putting my foot down, like I'm 100% done, because the streaming thing could not work out. You know, it only works out for a certain amount of people. But I want to give it my 100%, and know that I tried my hardest for like at least 1 year, but ideally like 2. I want to just know that I tried super hard to make it work. And when I stay in Dota, it limits me in like 100 ways, because you know, if I have to do an event, it means I have to keep playing often. It means I have to study. It means I have to like watch the matches and keep up to date with that. It means I have to do my interview research, because I don't settle for like a bad job. Like, I'm not gonna half-ass it. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm focusing on streaming. I'm not gonna prepare very much for this event. Like, I would hate myself. So it takes too much time to do that. And then also stream. So I feel like streaming is gonna suffer, and my Dota is gonna suffer. So I want to do one or the other, and then.
Yeah, there's no sense in spreading
yeah.
yourself too thin and then just having everything be subpar.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, streaming is it's more it's better for creative stuff, but it's also like better for you individually long term. Like, Dota is feels very much like a short term thing right now. We don't know how long the ecosystem's gonna last. We don't know like how long the interest will be there. You're not really, like I said, because it's about the game and the players, it's less about you. And for some people it works out and you can build your personal brand and all that stuff, but your personal brand feels very tied to Dota, and I don't know how interested those people are in you doing things that aren't Dota. So it's much nicer if you can be successful, to build a stream where people really just care about you and your projects, and then you can do anything you want, like anything, and then those people will follow because they care about that and about you.
Yeah, and that's something that really happens not just with Dota. That is a struggle that specialty streamers, for lack of a better term, face just innately. It doesn't matter if you are specific to Dota, if you're specific to Pokemon, Dark Souls, whatever, that if you go all in one thing, that you can definitely make a really solid following, build up a really fantastic community around that one thing. But if you have that very exclusive focus, that branching out can be difficult, and that's just because some people are going to be looking for a specific type of content. And that's not saying there's anything wrong with wanting that as a viewer, but that for you as a streamer or creator, that it does end up being limiting, that people who specialize in one thing for a very long time and then start to do variety sometimes end up having a bit of a challenge. But I think you're taking a very smart approach to it, that you're not just going cold turkey of, okay, no more Dota, we're stopping totally. That you're still doing some Dota here and there, and that you're sort of easing your way into variety, and that you're hopefully going to be able to have a couple folks who will go along with you, and some might not, but that's, for betterment of you at the end of the day. But I think the shift is better than just flipping a switch.
Yeah, I do feel weird about it though. Like,
Well, that's understandable.
flipping the switch, I think, is actually maybe better. Okay, here's my thought process, right? Dota is a stream killer. If you're within Dota only, obviously it's not. It's great. You stream Dota, people love Dota, they want to watch Dota, and that's kind of been my whole thing. But if you look at any other streamers, like XQC played Dota and his stream numbers tanked hard. You watch Moon play Dota, his stream numbers tanked hard.
It is a high barrier to entry game for viewers, yes.
It fucking sucks. No one wants to watch Dota that doesn't care about Dota. Like, most people, especially in VTubing, will play League of Legends. So it's like, these people don't give a shit, even if they understand the basics because they play League. It's like, oh, take the tower, take the base. Ah! It's still, they just don't want to watch it. And I think that for me, when I'm trying to build something away from Dota now, to keep playing Dota, it feels like I'm alienating new people and not growing in the new space that I want to be in.
I can
which
see
I
that.
don't like.
Yeah, that hadn't thought about it from that angle, but I can see how that could end up being the case.
Yeah, because I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna, because you want to stream consistently so people show up and like you become like a constant in their life. And this week I haven't been consistent, but whatever.
Things happen.
But yeah, but it's like, I don't know, if I was tuning into a new streamer and they were playing like a game I fucking didn't care about at all, and it was really boring to me and I didn't understand it and I didn't want to watch it, and they were playing that like 2 to 3 times a week, and they stream like 6 days a week, then suddenly I only get like, I don't know, 3 streams. Maybe I can't show up to one, I only get 2 streams a week, and that streamer becomes like I don't know, not a constant in my life. Like, I would rather go watch someone else.
That it ends up with that thing of being sort of subpar on both axes again, where the Dota fans aren't going to have Dota all the time, so they can't have you be consistent on that. And then folks who aren't into Dota are in the same camp. So, yeah, that does make sense. And that you mentioned that it sounds like you said aiming at the end of this month being sort of that cutoff point for you. And that I'm glad that you at least, like I said, have that mentality of having a plan and sort of setting a deadline, figuring things out, and that I think that there's going to be a lot of really interesting and fun times ahead, because you have already been playing different games. That you just finished a Nuzlocke, actually. You wound up having quite a challenge at the end of that Nuzlocke run when you got to the champion and realized, so for folks who aren't familiar, most Nuzlockers will hack in a bunch of rare candies, and that you will have a level limit, which is the highest level Pokemon of the next gym leader or Elite Four member. And something went wrong with you using something in your bag that then overwrote all the rare candies with some other item. Can't remember what it was, but the bottom line was you get to the champion, you get to Gary, and you don't have any extra rare candies to level up, and there's a good 2-3 level jump between Lance and Gary. And there was kind of a scary moment. Okay, can we do this? And you were able to do it, but that was a pretty high-stress run because you lost, like, 2 Pokemon to Lorelei, and then I think you didn't lose anybody else until Gary. And you sacrificed 1, but at that point, the match was just about over, and that was sort of you just getting to the end of it. But that was a wild ride.
Bro, that game was crazy. Yeah, we lost 2 Pokemon, didn't have the rare candies, I was panicking. I was like, yo, this shit sucks, guys, we lost. I don't know, I was just griefing. I haven't played Pokemon in literally years at this point, actually. I played.
And of course, you jumped right back into a Nuzlocke as the first thing that you do in years.
I love Nuzlocks, they're fun. But I think the Switch games are so easy, you kind of forget things. Like, I think, like, the Switch games, you don't have to think about match typing, really. You kind of just throw Pokemon out, you're kind of so strong all the time, it doesn't matter, you kill everyone. In Fire Red, the game was kind of tight. Like, I actually kind of had, like, you had so few moves and so few Pokemon, you kind of just like, oh shit, I actually really need to play a little bit tactfully, and I did not. I kind of just threw caution to the wind, used move. I was like, I had my ghost types dying to psychics because I was like, oh, I thought ghost was good against psychic. It's like, yeah, they're good against each other, dumbass.
In Gen 1, well, it's not that. The problem was in Gen 1, every ghost was also poison, which is weak to psychic.
Oh, well, that's what it was? Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand my Pokemon types anymore, bro. It's been too long.
To be fair, there are a lot of them nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself doing any more Nuzlocks in the near future, or do you think that you're gonna wait a while before the next one?
Oh, I 100% want to do more, but I have some other games I want to play. I actually, when we started Fire Red, the idea was, I'm gonna do Fire Red, then I'm gonna do Hot Gold, then I'm gonna do Emerald, then I'm gonna do Platinum, yeah. But, Fire Red went a little long, and I got a little bored, and I was like, actually, I think I might skip to, like, the one I really want to play. I want to replay Black and White. But I was planning on just starting them after I ended Fire Red, but right now I'm playing Dark Souls, which I thought I was going to drop, but then I didn't drop, and now we're playing Dark Souls, so I want to finish Dark Souls. We're playing, what is it called? A lot of Dota, because TI's coming up for Dota at the end of this month. And then I want to play Baldur's Gate, because I finally got the itch. I'm sick of seeing everyone else talking about it. I don't like it. I feel left out.
I still haven't played it either, and I'm getting pretty close to that point too.
Yeah, I feel you, dude. Just do it. Do it. We can't be left behind anymore.
Now, one thing that I find a bit interesting, you said the one that you're really looking forward to playing is Black and White, but you have one of the things that's been going around social media lately that hasn't been a total grease fire has been your top 25 games, and that's been fun to see from people. And your top 25 grid has 2 Pokemon games, Emerald and Platinum. Oh, sorry, 3.
Yeah.
And Colosseum.
Oh, I love Colosseum.
Black and White are not there, but you mentioned Black and White just now is the one you're looking forward to. So I'm kind of curious, did White just get forgotten on that particular grid, or is there something that makes Black and White something that you particularly want to Nuzlocke, even though you have Emerald, Platinum, and Colosseum listed among your favorite games of all time?
Well, Colosseum I really want to play again. Straight up, that's like high up on the list. I just don't know when to fit that in. I don't know. Basically, the thing about Colosseum, Platinum, Emerald is that I love them. I know them back to front. I'm very familiar with them because I love them so much. Black and White, I don't think I've played it since it came out. So I've kind of forgotten a lot, but I know that I really loved the games when they were out. So I really want to play them again because I've forgotten them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Actually, it might be the same for me that I'm the type that doesn't replay games very much, that it has to be something really, really special for me to replay it. But I definitely remember Black and White for obviously having one of the deeper stories for Pokemon games, and to be fair, even that in relativity compared to other games, not necessarily the deepest, but for Pokemon that they went to some pretty interesting places with the different characters and the world building, and just the music in that generation was phenomenal.
Yeah. It was a great game. I know it captured my interest because if I look back on my old DeviantArt, I drew lots of drawings of N.
I know that just N as a rival was such a divergence, really, because they were just this a very troubled character, for lack of a better term, that it just, at the end of the day, N just basically was gaslit by, I guess, just their entire life, and just you see as you go through the game, okay, this isn't someone who is trying to be evil, that this person has been raised basically in a cult.
Yeah. Yeah, that it had a good plot. That's why I want to play it. I also like the graphics on that gen. I wanted to play Emerald more than Black and White, but then my 2 close friends both Nuzlocked it and streamed it in Discord, and both of them wiped individually a couple times. So I watched the beginning of that game like maybe 4 or 5 times overall.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like, I'm fucking sick of this. My favorite game, I'm sick of it. I don't want to watch this anymore. I don't want to play it myself.
Gotcha. Well, definitely White and Black are going to be a lot of fun. I definitely... Do you know which starter you're going to go with? Do you... or I forget, because you didn't do a randomizer for Fire Red. Do you think you're going to do a randomizer for Black White, or is it just going to be a vanilla run?
I like vanilla runs, personally. I know it's like I think the people that do the Nuzlocks all the time, they do it to add like variety, right? But for me, I don't need. I haven't done these before. I'm also trying to I'm also trying to relive the games, right? So random. I don't want to ruin it with a randomizer. I think I'll. I can't remember. Oh, it's. I would get Snivy probably. I think Oshawott okay. I don't like the Tepig.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Nah, I remember when I played, I went with Oshawott, but I went with the water starter, I think from generations 2 through 7, and then I've gone with the fire starter the past 2 generations. Have you found that you have any consistency in terms of which starter you go with, or is it pretty spread out across the different generations?
It completely depends on the evolutions most of the time. And how they look and like the aesthetic. It's I have no type allegiance at all. Like.
Do you have a favorite starter of all time?
Yeah, Turtwig.
Okay, very solid choice. That I know it's a meme, but Mudkip is probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Mudkip's great.
And I remember the first time I was playing through Emerald, and I had just evolved Mudkip into Marshtomp, and I was at Watson, and I threw Marshtomp out, expecting, all right, I'm going to get one good hit in, because it has Mud Slap, and then it's probably just going to die, and whatever, I have other Pokemon waiting in the wings, that'll be fine. And then it was, Magnemite or whatever, used Thundershock, did not affect Marshtomp, and I had this just epiphany moment, because I hadn't gone back to check the stats or the typing after it evolved, because I think up until then that the starters would only gain a second type on the third evolution, so I never even considered that possibility, and it was just, like, this huge moment, like, oh my gosh, I'm about to wreck this gym with my new Marshtomp because I can't get hit.
I think that is actually a solid reason why so many people like Mudkip, because it was I think it might be the most reliable starter of any Pokemon game in terms of type matchups throughout the entire game. I don't think it got its shit wrecked by anything. I think it covered, like, most of everything.
Yeah,
like, it was just a good Pokemon.
The only thing that it has problems with is grass, and I don't think there is a grass gym or Elite Four in that generation. I could be wrong, but I know that there isn't one for a while at the very least.
Yeah, I don't fully remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it was lit. And it can learn Surf, like, it was such a useful, good Pokemon. Like, oh. Yeah, Mudkip was the go. I ran with Mudkip the first time I played that gen. I think now, like, my favorite is Trico from that. But, no, shit, I don't know. I like Swampurt's my favorite, like, final evolution, but I like Trico and Grovel more than the other two, like, first two.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon, just, doesn't matter if it's starter, legendary, pseudo-legendary? Is there any Pokemon that just, if it's in the game that you want to try and get it, whether it's because you just enjoy the design or for competitive purposes?
Oh, yeah. I love my boy Krogunk.
Ooh, okay.
He's my favorite Pokemon by far.
What makes Krogunk so special for you that, poison fighting, and it's definitely got good stats, so... was there something about it just competitively, or is it the design combination?
It's just design, I think. He's just a funny guy. He's just a funny little frog. He has the funniest smile. I love how his whole face looks. He's so funny. In the anime as well, he was pretty funny because Brock had him, and
that's right.
Yeah, every time Brock was horny, he would just, like, stab him. I'd be like, stupid Brock.
I did appreciate that in the anime, that Brock was always, basically hitting on every female character that they encountered, but he was never rewarded for it. That in Gen 1, it was always Misty grabbing him by the ear, and then later on that it would be his own Pokemon just physically hurting him, being like, stop that, stop that, don't be a creep.
Yeah, it's super funny. I don't know. I think Krogunk is just, there's like a gif of him like walking as well, where he's kind of like slouched back and he's just like, I don't know. He's got so much swagger, dude. He's such a great Pokemon. I love him.
Yeah, I think my favorite of all time feels a bit tropey again because it's a pseudo-legendary, but I've always liked Metagross. I think it's just, the Psychic Steel, I love the typing combination, and the idea of, this supercomputer tank was always really neat, and I liked Steel type because it has all these resistances, so that's the one that I usually enjoy. But for me, I'm a very easy person to please when it comes to most games, and Pokemon in particular, just because I have played since Generation 1, so there's a lot of nostalgia built in for me that I enjoy each new game and each new generation for what it is. I acknowledge that it's not going to be the same. I'm perfectly fine with the changes the series has had over the years, and I'm just happy that it has continued on. That it makes me very happy knowing that kids today get to grow up with Pokemon, because I know what it was like to grow up with Pokemon.
Yeah, growing up with Pokemon is powerful, especially now it's so big as well, because there's so many, like, it's not rare anymore to find Pokemon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or nerd stuff in general. It's like, if you like it, there's gonna be loads of shops with it, which is cool. I do think that there's a little sadness that I think the style of Pokemon games has changed so much. It's like the whole, I replayed Fire Red, and I was so surprised. I was like, oh, Gary's a fucking dickhead. He's an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's like, he's just straight up flaming the shell. I mean, there's like the dead Pokemon in the graveyard town, whatever. There's like the abuse, like, oh, they literally killed Marowak. Oh, that, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just so many adult themes that I think were really nice. And also, yeah, like, I don't know, just like Coliseum was a bit gritty. It was just like you have, stealing Pokemon. All the, but I don't know. It felt like there was danger, which was nice. I think nowadays, your rival picks the starter Pokemon that is weak to you for whatever reason. Like everyone, it's more like, oh my God, power of friendship. Like, it's. I think I miss when the games were like. I don't want to say necessarily harder, because they've gone easier, right? Because all the Pokemon like share XP and stuff now without you having to get an XP share and like that stuff. I kind of like that, honestly. It's like it's like a quality of life.
Yeah, that's the big thing, that they've done a lot of quality of life improvements and things that just make the game less grindy. That everything from EV training, which they still don't call it EV training, but that they have actively made mechanics and items that allow you to EV train more effectively. They now have tools where you can actually read the IVs, even if they are not using the terms IVs, and just top down, it has become a lot easier to just play the game. But I do agree that there's certain things that I wish the rival chose the one that was strong against you, and that usually all 3 starters get used nowadays, and that inevitably there will be someone that took the starter that was strong against yours, but that it's not going to be the rival. And I agree, that sort of feels weird, that I enjoyed feeling every time that I have a rival just appear in front of me, because they still just have that throughout the game, that you're going to encounter your rival and it's like, all right, we're going to have a battle now, and you probably aren't prepared for it. And that there was an innate sense of fear, because you just knew, regardless of what the rest of the party was, that at the back of the party they have something that is going to wreck what is probably your best Pokemon. And that fear isn't there anymore. As far as themes go, they've sprinkled some more adult things around that, Black and White, they have, again, basically a cult. They have a lot of themes of different types of death, and like Sun and Moon, Lucamine is a very abusive mother, frankly. That
I never played that one.
Oh. Well, suffice it to say that they do still have a couple of more heavy topics here and there. I don't know if they've gone quite as far as killing Marowak, at least off the top of my head, but there have been a couple. But yeah, it's part of the shift, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know what made them do it. Maybe it's just like sells better.
Probably
but,
that
I don't know.
That they now know they have such a global audience, and that they're trying to make sure they're still appealing to the lowest common denominator, and that if that's the price of Pokemon being mainstream, is that the storylines are a bit less intense, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I still enjoy current gen. Apart from the last one, which ran like shit, and I couldn't. It was just a laggy mess.
The design, the gameplay, that the Pokemon, the battle system, as good as ever. They didn't miss a step. That everyone who was in charge of the game's design, still doing top-notch work. Programming and, like you're saying, performance efficiency on the programming side there. Yeah, everyone basically acknowledges that left a lot to be desired, and that who knows where the blame truly lies, at to what degree is it the performance limitations of the Switch. But even then, you see things like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom that run just fine, and that it sounds like, or at least it feels like, there was enough of pushback hopefully this time to maybe next time around have them get it running a bit better, I hope. Because
does pushback matter if it was sold really well?
It sold 10 million units in its first weekend, which made it the highest-selling console-exclusive release in history. So
I'm sure they're worried, yeah.
It's possible that they just aren't going to. That in terms of finances and metrics, they do not necessarily have that motivation right now, but I'm hoping maybe that it'll run better next time, but I acknowledge it is entirely possible that this is going to be the new norm.
I mean, yeah, it's miserable if it doesn't.
We'll see, and that the next one is going to be Gen 10. The fact that
10?
It's 10.
What?
It's going to be 10.
We're 10?
That Paldea's 9 So
That's crazy.
We had the 25th anniversary last year, and that it's going to be Generation 10. Which, I know we're never going to get a full Pokemon game where it has every region, because goodness knows at this point you can't. They can't put all 10 regions in a game. That would be absurd. But it makes me wonder if they're going to do anything special for it being the 10th.
10th anniversary. There's 10 Pokemon. Have fun.
Yep, there you go. There's only 10 Pokemon in the game, but gosh darn it, all 10 Pokemon are gonna be amazing.
It's all 10 forms of Charizard.
Oh, God. Is it bad that I had to sort of count in my head and be like, there might just be 10 right now. I don't know how many. I think there's like 6. I don't know. There's a lot.
I don't know, dude. Yeah,
10 Mudkips.
I'm
that
not
sounds
heavily
great.
invested. Oh yeah. I'm not heavily invested in Pokemon anymore. I think I still love it, but I'm not heavily invested. I'm happy with like the old games that I love. Like again, Platinum, Emerald, great games. Coliseum, great game. I don't need the new games. I'm kind of like, there's so many amazing new games coming out nowadays. Like, I'm not reliant on Pokemon. Whereas when I was younger, it was much more like of a huge thing for me. But yeah, I don't know. When Nintendo can do whatever they want, like at a certain point, like when the games become uninteresting, I just don't buy them. It's like Sun and Moon and whatever, X and Y. I don't know if did I play X and Y? I'm not sure. But like, I know I definitely didn't play Sun and Moon, and I kind of like was off of Pokemon for a few years.
Yeah, I know that for me, it's definitely not quite the pillar that it once was, that I pick up every mainline game, just one, I don't, get both versions and go all out, complete the Pokedex, but that I'll play through the story mode and usually some of the end game content, but that I'm not picking up all the spin-offs and whatnot. But definitely a game I still enjoy, and that I'll watch some competitive casually. I never do competitive, but at least that's one that if you've played the games, that it's approachable. For you, do you either just casually or at all keep up with competitive Pokemon, or are there any other competitive scenes that you just enjoy watching?
I don't keep up with Pokemon. Because Beast Coast are very heavily involved in Pokemon right now. They signed Wolfie as a content creator, and they've been making like events. I think they're doing like a Pokemon Safari event thing right now, actually, or this weekend it happened. And I've tuned in sometimes, like just to look, see what they're doing. I know that there was that event where they had like, was it Beyond the Summit or whoever? I know they rebranded Off-Brand. Is that their name? I don't know. I think they did a Pokemon event maybe with like a bunch of content creators, and they had like pros coaching content people, and they had a tournament. And I tuned into that one a little bit, but it's just, I don't know. I don't really give a shit about competitive Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon for like the hard-hitting like strategic battles. I play Pokemon to catch funny little creatures that make my heart go woo.
And that's part of what makes it so good, that there's different ways to enjoy Pokemon, that they have kept it accessible, whether that's how you want to play, just, all right, I'm going to go through the story mode, I'm going to catch the Pokemon that I want to catch, and that I don't need to worry about hyper-optimization. But then if you want to get into competitive play, that there is that route as well, and that they've started building in those quality of life things, and that I think that's part of why it has continued to succeed, because no matter how you want to interact with Pokemon, that you have those options.
Yeah, I watch competitive, a little bit of Dota right now. I watch competitive Apex. I love that. Like ALGS, I watch that every time it's on. And I like, if there's like a big event, like some Evo, I might tune in and watch like random stuff. I love fighting games. I think they're fun to watch.
Are there any fighting games that you've gotten moderately good at, even if not necessarily professional competitive level, but any that you feel are a specialty for you?
The closest is probably Ultimate. I play Smash. Like, I grew up playing it, and I played it a lot when it came out in Ultimate, and I went to my local every week. So that's like the one I got the most competitive in. I used to travel a bit around the country to compete as well. I never did well, but I liked it. It was fun. And then I tried to learn Guilty Gear Strive, but I didn't get deep enough in it before I had to like do other stuff.
Are there any games that you are considering investing time into more competitively as you shift away from Dota, or do you think that competitive gaming, at least in terms of tournament play, is probably something that you're going to pause for the time being?
I think competitive requires so much time, it's not like a feasible thing. I think if you ever want to go like competitive in anything, you can't have a job like this, streaming, because you sacrifice the ability to be entertaining for like trying to get good, because you're grinding, right? Like it's like Apex is the game I'd love to be good at right now. I'd love to be good at it, and I play a lot off stream. But like on stream, it's not very interesting because I'm focusing so hard. I'm not really talking. I'm thinking. I'm trying to think a lot. I'm not that good, so it's not natural to me yet. I'm in the, what is it? The conscious, whatever the thing. You know, the unconscious. It's like the I don't know, whatever. And I don't know. It's like if I wanted to really get better, then what I would do is I would load up my stream. I would play in the like training grounds for like an hour, then I would queue. And I think just sitting in a training ground practicing aim is not very interesting stream content.
Yeah, that's probably a good mindset, a good approach. That the punching bag training is definitely not going to end up being very compelling content now.
Yeah, it's like the same with fighting games. If I was going to play Guilty Gear again, I would sit in a lab and I would lab combos. And to lab combos, you know, you need to like have YouTube videos up, you need to be copying things, you need to be practicing, repetition. That shit is boring. It's boring. I understand it's boring, so I'm never going to do it on stream. So I probably just won't do it in general. I think I get competitive in that I'm always going to try and better myself, and maybe I'll do that off stream, but I'm trying to like balance how much I want to grind things with like my content and just be wary of what I'm doing. And if I have to sacrifice the competition stuff a little bit, it's okay, because there's other games I like to play still.
Are there any that are particularly high on your list to play in the future, even if not competitively?
Like, I don't have any other games that are competitive that I want to play that are higher up. Like, it's whatever, I think. Maybe like Counter-Strike 2 I wanted to try out, but I heard that it's, I don't know, a bit whatever. Everyone plays Valorant. I don't really want to play Valorant. I'm mostly interested in RPGs right now. Like, I really want to play Cyberpunk.
Ooh, okay. For RPGs, is there any... There's a lot of different types of RPGs. Do you find a particular style or system to be your favorite, or is just anything RPG that, as long as you're able to, you know, go with different stats, have a level of agency over your character and your world, is that all you look for? What are you looking for just as a player?
There's something like I can try different stuff, but the things that tickle my fancy that make me really happy is an RPG that's open world. I love open worlds. I love good characters. They're really important to me. Like, I know a lot of people hate Dragon Age 2. It's one of my favorite games specifically because the characters are so strong. They all have such good, like, personalities. They're really fun to interact with. The dialogue was really fun. I just, like, I fell in love with the characters, and that, like, left a massive, like, you know, impact in my memory of the game, and is why I love it. So open world, not turn-based. I don't like turn-based, honestly. I hate it a lot. I love, like, a good feeling combat system. What else do I love? I like it when the game is, like, nice to play, in the sense that, you know, if they give you, like, a mount that's easy to access, you know, so I can get around quickly. If they just make it so that things are, like, not super hit, like, you can have puzzles, but, like, I don't want to be walking around, like, in Dark Souls, like, lost and angry because I don't know what I'm doing. I like that to be... I just like it when it feels nice to play. Like, I just want to be in the game. I want to be immersed. I want to, like, be in with the characters. I want to, like, I just want to vibe out and just do my thing, and everything feels good.
You mentioned Dragon Age 2 is one of your favorites. I see also on that grid of 25 top games, Inquisition is also up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like an improved Dragon Age 2, because, well, I think the characters are not as good in Inquisition than in 2. But the actual, like, open world was really good, because Dragon Age 2, obviously one of the reasons it's, like, one of the most hated games is because it reuses dungeons over and over again. And it'll just take a dungeon, flip it around, and then make you go from the back to the front, and then you do that same dungeon, like, 8 times in the whole game or something, which is just obscene. And sucks, but Dragon Age Inquisition doesn't have that. It has a lot more unique levels. The graphics are obviously much better. The characters are still really great. I love a good romance option as well, actually. Big fan of that. I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, even though I hate turn-based combat, just because I wanted to, like,
because
the characters were so good. and I was like, I want a romance 8, oh god. Yeah. So Inquisition, I thought the combat in that game was really fun as well. That was a great game.
Yeah, I didn't actually end up beating Inquisition. That is the one Dragon Age game that I've played any amount of. And I didn't even drop it because I didn't like it. I think something came up and it was just one of those cases where I'd been not quite no-lifing it, but that I'd been playing it a lot, and then something came up, wasn't playing for a week, and then when I came back that there were other things that I wanted to play or watch or do, and that I never actually finished it. So maybe that's when I should go back and actually wrap up, because I was enjoying it. I remember I had done a rogue build, and like I said, it was my first Dragon Age, so I really had and still have no idea what the hell I'm doing with that. I'm just sort of having fun trying to make a moderately balanced party of, okay, I know I went with rogue build for myself, so let's make sure that we have some magic users, and then we have a tank and whatnot. Make sure you have a balanced party, at least in concept. But past that, I was just sort of enjoying the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the fun of the games, I think, when they have a good world, and they have, you mentioned classes, like, it's just good when there's variety as well. Games are great when they give you different ways to complete them, and not necessarily in, like, classes way, but, like, Dishonored, right? One of my favorite games, because you can kill everyone, or you can sneak, and it gives you paths, right? It's like, yeah, you could just walk through and shoot them, or there's a pathway up there. Oh, if you look up, there's a little hole, and you can climb through that and then get through. I love games that are just creative with their level design and, like, way of completing it, and I don't know, it makes replaying fun too.
Do you find yourself tending toward any particular class or style when you're building your own character? Do you enjoy being tank? Do you enjoy magic? Is there anything, or do you end up shifting around just based on whatever your whims are feeling that particular day?
Yeah, I don't like to be a healer at all. I like a big sword. I either like to be like warrior stuff with like a sword and stuff, or I like to have a double-handed sword. I like to just kill, murder. I mean, like, in the case of Dishonored, I prefer playing stealth, but I like stealth where I kill. That's, like, my favorite. But I also like the challenge of, like, don't get seen, don't kill, don't do anything. Like, you have to tackle the game and feel fulfilled. But yeah, in the case of, like, Skyrim, Dragon Age, stuff like that, I really like to just either play assassination or play just, like, go in there and brutalize everything with a big-ass sword.
Something with high damage.
High damage, good. I don't want to fuck around with any of that fancy shit. Spells suck. Archery sucks. Let me get in there with a sword.
Swords, what are those for?
Murder.
Or rather, sorry, not sword. Shields, what are those for?
Oh yeah, shield.
I
don't mind shields sometimes. Like Dark Souls, I'm grateful to have a shield. I love parrying. Games with parrying. Oh, those are good games.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see parrying and, you know, obviously the concept of dodge rolling become so big in gaming over the past really, 10, 15-ish years. That a lot of it does stem from Souls-like games, but it just think back that prior to Dark Souls, concept of parrying and dodging being a core mechanic of the game didn't really exist. That obviously in older games there were different ways to just, obviously you want to make sure you're not getting hit, but it wasn't necessarily. This is a core mechanic. This is a move that you're going to be using regularly, and the just act of dodging being so integral to a skill set. And now it's in, I don't want to say every game, but it's in a lot of games, and it's been interesting to see that as a mechanic, which is obviously something that in real life makes perfect sense. Dodging is what you're going to want to do if you're in combat, but that it just hadn't really translated to games, or at least not to the degree that we have it now until relatively recently.
Kingdom Hearts did it first.
I hadn't even thought of it from that angle.
Let's not forget Kingdom Hearts. They're rolling. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool when a game comes around that changes things and people reevaluate how they want to do game design.
Yeah, I played the original Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 and then sort of fell off that particular bandwagon, and I now watch from afar and hear the stories of, okay, the narrative has gone completely off the rails, but again, that's one that I look at and say, I'm glad that series exists. It's this total oddity in terms of not only the characters in the game, just, all right, Final Fantasy and Disney still sounds like a crossover that shouldn't exist, and then you take into account the release history and the incredibly winding path it took to get from Kingdom Hearts 2 to 3, but that it has still become such a beloved series, and that yes, perhaps it's a little convoluted on the story, but that it has very much lived its own best life, even if it is a unconventional best life.
Yeah. I played literally half of the first game. I'm terrible. But I love it. I love it when it comes up and I love Sora, I love all that shit. I was super hyped when he finally got added to Smash. I really wanted to play the most recent game because the graphics look good. I don't know though. I just didn't end up touching it. But like one day I want to go through Kingdom Hearts. That's on my list because yeah, I just think it's a beautiful, fun idea of everything together, and it's just a fun game. Everyone loves Kingdom Hearts, and the music is so good.
Yes. No, I'm a huge video game music fan that, going as far back as playing on my Game Boy, that I would just find different levels that I like and hold the Game Boy up to my ear and just listen to the level music or different battle themes, and that's something I still enjoy, that I'll regularly go on YouTube, look up different tracks and just listen to that. I know actually the first video game soundtrack I ever owned is another game that is on your top 25, and it is still a game that I unironically love to this day, and that is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Oh, that game is so good.
Yeah. I acknowledge, yes, the camera's a little wonky, but I genuinely think that game is fantastic. I think the story played out really well. I think the characters are great. I think the level design is really, really good, and obviously the music.
Yes, the music, I still regularly listen to the soundtrack for that.
I
have like a few soundtracks I
may or may not have most of those song lyrics memorized to this day because Crush 40 is awesome, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I wish I knew the raps for the Knuckles levels. Those ones are really fun.
I don't know those. I know most of them, like, Live and Learn, City Escape, etc.
Yeah.
I can sing those pretty much on demand, but yeah, the Knuckles ones are the few that I haven't memorized, but gosh, they're all so good.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I know most of the song lyrics for those songs. They're really good. Yeah, there's like I have like 5 game soundtracks I'll listen to like on a cycle. I'll be like, oh, it's time to listen to this soundtrack. Skirp, into the next one. Skirp. Adventure always in there. It's just so good. And Heroes as well also has a really, really good soundtrack.
I saw that on your list, and I appreciate that because I feel Heroes is very underappreciated. I acknowledge it's not the best game in the series. I still really enjoyed it.
It was like, I mean, Battle was my favorite, but Heroes was right behind it. I really sunk a lot of time into that game. I don't think I completed it the way that they wanted you to complete it. Like all 4, there was like the Metal Sonic song. I don't think I ever got to
Oh,
to the
did you never
Metal
get to the
Sonic
final
stuff.
story?
Yeah.
Maybe that's one to revisit, because the final story is
Oh,
intense.
I am not revisiting that
No?
game because
Uh-oh.
I did revisit it a few years ago on stream. I played it, and one of my friends, viewer at that time, made a video of me playing Sonic Heroes on the stream, and it was just me screaming and yelling the entire time because the game was so buggy, and it just did not function. That I just sucked. Like, I would jump, and there would be a rail, and I would land on the rail, but I wouldn't. I would just go through the rail and then die, and I would be like, why? Why is it like this?
Yeah, I never actually hit any major bugs when I was playing it growing up, but I kind of want to revisit it now just to see. Maybe I did hit bugs and just thought it was me not being good at the game back in the day. I'm not sure.
There was a lot of frustration. Like, I don't know if you remember the level where you're in the like power plant and the lava starts rising from the floor and you have to go up.
Yes.
Yeah, that one stressed me out as a kid. That was like traumatizing.
Oh.
And we in that video there's a clip of me going, "Oh yeah, I remember I hated this as a kid. Let's see if I was just a bitch or not." And then I died to it like 10 times, and I'm just like losing my mind because it's so buggy. Because you're meant to like do the double A tap dash thing to like hit the floating airplane guys, and then like grab onto what are they called, like the things you hold on to and it takes you up and down or wherever it is. No, it's up.
I don't know, the little transport things.
Yeah, anyway, like it's all so precise and the camera is so weird that you can't tell how like close you are to them. So it's just like the whole thing is just me missing them, or like I try and do a homing attack and it just doesn't home in, and I go off to the side and hit a wall and then die. It's just like that over and over again, and oh my god, playing that game again was like hell. It was hell. Things just don't function. Like, it's most of the time it's the homing attack stuff. It's homing attack, and it's like following the rings. You know, it would be like, hold
God,
B, and it will take you through the rings, right?
The glitched light dash, when it decides to not actually follow the path, but sort of take you on this weird angle, and you will go through just the first ring in the line, and then fly off the stage.
Yup. Oh my fucking god, it was just that, back to back to back to back. I was gonna kill myself in Minecraft playing that game, dude. Sonic Heroes, it does not function, but I loved it anyway.
I know. Have you seen the Sonic movies?
I watched the original one with Metal Sonic, like the OVA one.
No, I mean like the recent Hollywood Sonic movies.
Oh, yes.
I'm just hyped that they're gonna do something that hopefully is akin to Sonic Adventure 2 with the third movie.
Oh really? Oh, I only know they were bringing in. What the hell are they doing? What are they doing that's akin to battle?
Well, they're bringing in Shadow for the third movie. So I'm sort of making the knee-jerk assumption that they're going to hopefully... like, if we get Space Colony Arc in any way, shape, or form, I'll be happy. I really hope they do. Like, I don't know if we're going to get full-on Bio-Lizard and everything, but... maybe we'll get something. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. And also trying to... do you have any... wishes of who you would want to play Shadow?
No, I don't think about that stuff.
Very fair.
Yeah, the more it becomes like Sonic, the happier I am, because I didn't like the first movie because I was like, they just took the real world and put Sonic in it. This sucks, you know? Whereas on the other hand, you have Nintendo making the Mario movie, and it's like, whilst it's clearly for babies, it's also a massive like kiss on the head for Mario fans and like Nintendo fans, and all of the references they had in it. It was very much, this is a Mario movie, and I was like, this is great. Like, this makes my heart happy. It's simple, it's cute, but it makes my heart happy, and the characters are really fun, and it's great. And the Sonic movie was just like, I don't know who these humans are, I don't give a shit about them, I want Sonic, I want the other guys, bring them.
Yeah, it
So
did.
it was a bit disappointing.
No, I do agree that certainly the humans were the weakest part of the Sonic movie, and that the second movie had a lot less of the humans, and hopefully they'll continue that trend, but we'll see. And I did enjoy the Mario movie as well. It was delightfully short, that it was like an hour and a half, very simple, that it didn't have to overstay its welcome. It felt like every one of the moments was just as long as it needed to be. The training montage maybe went a little bit longer than I would have liked, but even that, it stopped just as I was starting to really get to the point of like, okay, this is too long, but everything else felt really snappy, and that, like you said, it was just, this is the Mario world. We are not going to try and inject a whole bunch of real-world stuff into it, and that the quote-unquote real world in the Mario universe still felt like the Mario universe in its own ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these movies are like so hit and miss. I think the Mario one, whilst it was a bit plain, it was what I would have wanted for the most part. Sonic left a lot to be desired. I'd usually stay away from these types of movies in general. Like, they did a Dragon Ball movie, I never watched that. They did they do anime recreations as movies sometimes. I never watched those. There was the Avatar Legend of Aang one they made ages ago.
We do not acknowledge that.
Yeah. I'm acknowledging it right now to say it sucked dick.
Oh, what a case study in how not to adapt a franchise. What an incredible blunder that thing was.
Yeah, really. I mean, maybe he achieved what he wanted. Everyone remembers it.
I guess, yeah. Congratulations is all publicity, truly good publicity, and that if you've made it so what you created is in people's minds, that it's a victory in and of itself, perhaps. I know. Is there anything that you would want to see adapted that, imagine that you have creative control and that you can make sure that it is done as you would want it to be done. Is there something you would want to see actually adapted?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, can it be like a game to an anime? Because like my problem is I don't want real anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I don't know why everyone feels the need to put stuff as live action. Like the whole Disney thing they've been doing for the last 5-10 years, however long, with the we're making Lion King, but with real lions. I'm like, I don't want this, man.
Yeah, that I forget if that's supposedly something because it keeps copyright renewed or something to that effect, or it could just be, all right, people are going to want to do this and it's going to print money anyways. But yeah, the shot-for-shot remakes have been really the lowest form of adaptation for me. That if you're going to do something that's like game to movie or game to live action and actually do something different, that the Sonic movies, the Mario movie, have vastly different stories from what you have in the games, that they are taking the inspiration in the characters and putting them in new situations. That's cool. I don't need to see the movie I've already seen again, and then they will update like 10-20% of stuff, maybe tweak the narrative a bit, but otherwise it's that half of the appeal of those is that it is a shot-for-shot remake, and that's just, like you said, why at that point? There's so much new stuff to see that I don't know exactly how it's going to end, that I would rather watch than something I know how it's going to end.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to see them changed up a little. Like, I just don't want to see any live action. I fucking hate live action.
So what would you want then adapted to an anime?
Well, what I wanted, which is now actually coming, is Scott Pilgrim. I really wanted to see the actual comics make it to a show. Yeah.
Like, I've seen speculation that it might even be not quite a one-to-one retelling of the books, and that they might be doing like slightly different timeline or something. I'm not sure. I'm going in figuring, we're playing with house money at this point. I enjoyed the books, I enjoyed the movie, and the trailer seemed good. They released an initial clip of Scott ordering from, it's funny enough, it's no longer
Netflix.
From Netflix. They changed that. It's no longer Amazon.ca. What's the URL for that? Amazon.ca. So they
that
changed some stuff.
I didn't like that. I mean, it was obviously like, oh yeah, we're paying for this, so you're gonna take our.
We're not gonna advertise our competitor Amazon Prime at all. So
unlucky. But yeah, I mean, I didn't like that obviously, but it's whatever. Small price to pay for like having the comics finally adapted because they're way too good. And the movie is actually my favorite movie like ever. I think it's like the most fun movie to watch. I love it. I adore it. I love everything about it. The music, the casting, the humor, the shots, the pacing, everything is literally the perfect movie.
I saw that movie at midnight release with friends, and it is a memory I cherish to this day. It was so much fun that when that 16-bit Universal intro came onto the screen, the whole theater was cheering. It was just such a fun time. And then I went and read the books afterwards and was like, oh, cool, there's even more here. And that while they have their differences, I thoroughly enjoy both, and I'm looking forward to the anime. And I can't believe they got the whole cast. Like, I expected someone that, okay, maybe we get Michael Cera and is it Mary Elizabeth?
Mary?
Yeah. That maybe they can get some of the core cast, but they got Chris Evans back. They got Brie Larson back. And we have two high-profile folks who've now been in the MCU since then, and just that it's everyone, and that makes me so happy because I like to think that means the folks that were involved with the production wanted to come back. That I'm sure they're getting paid pretty well, but at the same time, if I feel like if they didn't enjoy it, that there would have been at least one or two people who said, I'll pass this time, because while they're probably working with a good budget, it's not a Marvel budget or anything. Chris Pine doesn't need to be there. I hope it's because they were having a good time.
Wasn't there a charity thing a little while ago where most of the cast did a script reading?
Oh, I could totally believe they've done that, because I know that like Lord of the Rings cast did that a while back. I'm not sure, but I could fully believe that the Scott Pilgrim cast has.
Yeah, they did a reunion table read in 2020. It wasn't everyone though, but it was cool. But yeah. Oh man, I'm unbelievably excited for that show. And then yeah, if I had to choose something that hasn't been made to be created, I honestly don't have any strong contenders. I wanted Witcher, and then they made that into a Netflix show, which, oh man, if they'd actually let our boy actually like help dictate how the show should be done, I think it would have been like a masterpiece maybe. But unfortunately, it was a fucking mess, and I hate it.
Oh, I've never actually played The Witcher. I haven't seen the series, but I know that it means a lot to a lot of people, and things like that break my heart. Of just when it's something that a lot of people love, and to see it not done well, because obviously, we know about the Last Airbender movie that doesn't actually exist, and just Dragon Ball and other classic examples of ill-fated adaptations, and that I forget who the new Witcher is going to be, but I wish him the best of luck, and I hope that something can be salvaged, because I know there is a new season coming out if memory serves, but it really sucks, just even as a third party, seeing when things like that don't go well, and that fans feel that it's something that doesn't have what they are looking for.
I don't want to watch it without Henry Cavill. I ain't. I
fair.
just ain't gonna watch it. Yeah. You can't take the most passionate actor out of the show and tell me it's gonna improve in any way. Like, you're losing the most passionate actor, and you're losing, and he's leaving because they refuse to respect the original books. Like, it's like, fuck that shit. I'm not rewarding them for fucking him over. I refuse. I haven't watched the last season yet. I'm gonna, because I love Henry Cavill, and then I'm done.
Now I know you've said that The Witcher is just your favorite game of all time, period.
Yup, true.
what has it in that spot? What makes it just head and shoulders above everything else for you?
All the stuff I listed earlier about my favorite game stuff.
Fair.
It's open world. It has good combat.
It's the checklist.
Really good characters. It has everything I ever wanted in a game. I think the graphics are really good. I listen to the soundtrack. That's one of my like 5 soundtracks in cycle. I love the soundtrack. I just think everything about it is super satisfying. I think the only thing I hate is the weapons breaking, but I mod that out. Yeah, I don't know. I think the like magic is satisfying. I don't know. I love Geralt. I love Yennefer. I love Ciri. I hate Triss, but that's fine. I love just I don't know. It's just fun. It's like I think all the magical creatures are really interesting and cool. I think that the that's something I really love, actually. It was probably the most impactful thing on what made me really appreciate the game, was how much care went into every side quest. I think when you play any other game, having this thing where you just hit, like, this recurring pattern of, like, you talk to a guy, they barely say shit, you get sent on, like, one of 3 types of quests, like
go
a fetch
kill
quest,
X number of boars, or go to
Yes.
next town and bring back this MacGuffin item, or search for this lost weapon, which will inevitably be quest reward at the end of the day.
Exactly, and it's always like that, and honestly, even if Witcher follows that, I can't like fully remember, but even if it was to follow that thing where it had a certain type of like quest, like play type, they are all shrouded in voice acting. Like, everything is voice acted. You go to these random NPCs for these random side quests, and they have an actual, like, motive, an actual story. Like, they try and actually bring you into their lives for that brief moment. They're like, my little boy, he's gone off into the woods, blah, blah, blah. It tells you some backstory about how that child came to be in their possession for whatever reason. You grow, like, 1% emotionally attached, which is more than I get attached to any other NPC in any other game. And then you go and do the quest, and it extends a little bit. It's a little bit longer. There's even more care put into it. They have like specific like random items. It's not like, oh, you found broom. It's like, oh, you found character's broom. I don't know, like just the little. It just feels like when you play this game, you're actually doing meaningful things, even when you're doing meaningless quests.
Yeah, that it is a fleshed out world, and that every person in the world has their own story. That whether it's someone you pass on the sidewalk, that someone has lived a life to get to where they are today, and that those characters have that depth, that writing, that they aren't just insert civilian number 144, and that, oh, hello, traveler. My farm has been besieged by goblins. Can you please help me and make sure that the goblins stay away?
Yeah. I hate that. So yeah, Witcher was fantastic for that. I just loved it. I just loved I just loved everything. You know, I was constantly really happy. I hate Gwent, fuck Gwent, but that's like, it's not for me, and I don't have to engage in it if I don't want to, which is nice.
Now, you've mentioned that 2 of the 5 soundtracks that you cycle through very frequently, Witcher and Sonic Adventure 2, what are the other 3?
So Sonic Adventure, Witcher 3, Guilty Gear Strive is like a kind of rock metal soundtrack. I really love that. I listen to that, like, that's probably the one I listen to the least, but like it hits hard every time I listen to it. I love it. Animal Crossing, like, I listen to mixes on YouTube of like all the games, like calming, relaxing mix. Especially the new one had a really good soundtrack.
So that's 3 and 4. Which one is 5?
I'm trying to think, because in my brain it's getting addled with all of the because I listen to like Nintendo mixes on YouTube. Oh no, I think it was Sunshine. I listen to Sunshine a lot because it has like the beach vibes.
Yep.
That I really love.
Yeah, and that scans because those games are all here on that top 25 grid. And I have to say, the odd one out, not just in that list of soundtracks, but really in this whole grid of 25 games, is Animal Crossing. That,
Oh yeah.
especially as someone who enjoys, competitive play or just the the challenge, the grind of being able to get good at a game, that Animal Crossing is just, it's one of the quintessential farming life simulators. So where does Animal Crossing come into play? How does someone with your usual taste in games first end up interacting with Animal Crossing and then loving it?
As a kid, I had a DS and I got Wild World, and well, funnily enough, the way I play games is not necessarily always aggressive. So like, I don't know if you ever played. Do you ever play Simpsons Hit and Run?
Yes, I see that on the list as well, and I love that game of just, what a wonderful game of just, that felt like the Simpsons world, that you talk about details and everyone having their own story. Obviously, those stories are already written from the show, but that there have been so many games where they've taken, whether it be an anime or a movie IP and adapted it into just shovelware, and the Hit and Run was so good.
It was. I played it a lot, but that is the thing about that game, is that I didn't actually play it as intended all the time. It was hit and run. I would be so enamored by being in the Simpsons town that I would hop in a car and I would just drive at the speed limit on the road and respect the traffic laws.
Try to not actually run over pedestrians. Try to not, wreck buildings and vehicles left, right, and center.
Yeah, I would super roleplay. I would go to Moe's Tavern and I would just go in there and I would just kind of stand there and look around, and in my head I would just have these imagined roleplays of I love being in Moe's Tavern with my friends. We're chilling now. I'm gonna have a beer, yay! And then I get out and I go back in my car and I drive somewhere else. And I loved that. Honestly, it was I don't know why, but it was so fun because it was probably, I guess it's because growing up is my first taste of role playing is something else, or having the interaction with media that I enjoyed so much, where it was kind of crazy. It's I'm in the world. That's whoa! I've never seen this stuff before. It's so cool. And Animal Crossing was kind of fun in that very passive sense as well. It's you were just in a little town. Obviously, it's not a related media that I knew like Simpsons, but it was very much I have a town. I can do anything I want. That creativity already was very interesting. And it was how can I, what can I do with this? I love it. I just love talking to these animals and making friends, and they give me stuff. I love that. I'm I have so much to strive for. I mean, it's a fun game. How can I make pictures in the in this open field with my flowers and stuff like that?
I guess for you that it scratches the storyteller itch of just that. That's been something that has been a pretty consistent underlying thread for a lot of these other games, and that for Animal Crossing and Hit and Run, that it allows the story to be your own, that it allows you to, the combination of roleplay and freedom in game mechanics allows you to just create your own story, and that it is an RPG in a sense. And I can see how that would end up being really appealing. And goodness knows, I'm a huge Animal Crossing fan. I've played every one since the GameCube. Wild World and New Leaf, I think, are my two favorites. That the DS ones were just really, really good. I know Wild World was the second game in the series, and it was the first time that you could do online play. So that was just huge, being able to actually, I remember going on the GameFAQs forums and, looking for trade or just exchanging different designs or visiting towns. And goodness knows the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection has always been garbage. If you think it's bad in New Horizons, you have no idea how bad it was back in Wild World.
I played both of those. They were both really good. I actually forgot about New Leaf, funnily enough. That game was, I love that because you got the emoticons and stuff easily. I like the little plaza. It was very nice. I actually like that more than Wild World. Whoops, I forgot.
Do you have any favorite villagers?
Butch the dog. He was my boy.
Yeah, my favorite was always I wound up really liking Lily the Frog.
Yeah.
And just being able to go and that, like you were saying, have those conversations and do the little favors and whatnot, and that the amount that the villagers like you over time does change. That obviously the grumpy ones are the ones that you really feel the most difference, but even for the friendly, peppy ones, that they eventually open up to you, and that you're able to go from moving into this town that you're not familiar with to just knowing it like the back of your hand, decorating it, and that it feels like home in its own way.
Yeah, it's weird because I actually don't think Animal Crossing was about like storytelling. I think it was more like creating something that's yours. I think that was what was so nice, was the idea of like, I make this town, it is mine. The animals that are there were created. Like I bullied the ones I didn't like out. I brought in the ones I liked. Do. Yeah, like I made friends with them. I made them like a part of me. I cleaned up my town. I made my house really cool. You cut, and then you play with your friends and you bring them in and you're like, this is mine. Like I made this. Like this is a representation of me that I get to share. Like that was what was so nice about it. Point
of pride.
Yeah, and it's kind of like weird because New Horizons on the Switch, right, it kind of gave you more creative expression to do that, because now you could suddenly put like furniture out on the ground, which was like, oh, holy shit, like this changes everything. But at the same time, and the landscaping, that was so cool. Whoa. Yeah, but at the same time, they absolutely annihilated the villager aspect. Like the characters don't do the same things anymore.
The amount of dialogue is like
so little.
It feels like it's a fifth of what it used to be, and
right?
I think that for longtime Animal Crossing fans, that seems to be the very consistent criticism of the game, that it did a lot really well. And goodness knows, Animal Crossing was there when the world needed it most in early 2020. I visited so many people in Animal Crossing when I couldn't see them in real life, and that it, like you were saying, the terraforming, being able to actually put items outside, that was huge. That you were exponentially increasing the amount of space that you could customize as a player. But then the dialogue and the characters felt just so two-dimensional, where they once had been, just so much more.
Exactly. And that kills the replayability, because it's like, I'm meant to live in this island, and you're meant to play it for a year straight, right? Because that's how long it takes to go through all the bug cycles and stuff. I mean, really, you're probably meant to play it for 2 years and catch the ones you didn't catch on the first one, but the problem becomes, like, at a certain point, I've done it. I've created my entire town. I've made everything look how I want it to look, and now I just have to live with a bunch of animals that don't do anything, and there's nothing new. Like, they send way less letters, it used to always be the stuff, they would constantly invite you into their homes and stuff, and they would let you buy things from their house, and you could really share everything between them. Like, there was a bond there. There was, like, I don't know, it was so much. It felt like you were constantly interacting with the animals, and then in New Horizons, they were just there in my little theme park of furniture on the ground, and that was it.
It surprised me that of all things for the game to be lacking, that was it, because it's not the case of Pokemon where, all right, something somewhere along the line with programming was an issue, and the game just does not run efficiently, in that, it's chugging, or that it's clipping, and that visually it doesn't look good. Animal Crossing runs fine. That if you have completely loaded up your island, you have hundreds and hundreds of things on the ground, that the Switch can sometimes chug a tiny bit, but you need to push it to get to that point. The fact that the thing that is so lacking is simply writing feels I think that's what makes it all the more frustrating, because it feels like something that should be fixable, because we have seen in past games they are perfectly capable of writing this amount of dialogue, these compelling different archetypes, and that it just sort of inexplicably got left out.
Yep. I don't understand it. There's also weird quality of life, like the inability to craft multiple of something at once.
Oh
was
gosh,
really,
yes. Or just being able to manipulate more than one tile during terraforming at a time. I'm hoping that they will improve that in the next iteration, because goodness knows New Horizons sold more than enough to justify there being another Animal Crossing in however many years, and that hopefully they will improve that, because just having to sort of zone out and rapidly tap A as you crafted 20 of whatever the heck you needed was not super fun gameplay.
Yeah, I hope they release a new game before I die. It was like Animal Crossing. Oh, it was so good. I mean, for what it was during COVID, it was like a perfect game. I really enjoyed sinking everything into it for like that time, before it did then get boring. But it took 8 years between New Leaf and New Horizons, and now it's been 3 years since New Horizons. So I don't know how much longer we have to wait, but I hope they make another one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will, but I do expect it will be. My guess is another 4 to 5 years. Yeah, and that.
It's so hard to make. Nothing happens. They already done most of the hard work, man.
I'm hoping that, and since Nintendo's going to be releasing a new system sometime next year, obviously that could mean in 18 months or whatever, that it could just be holiday 2024, but that they've released a Animal Crossing game for every console they've had except the Wii U, I think. At least since the series came into existence.
Poor Wii U. Yeah. Sucked ass.
Nobody liked the Wii U. That it was a combination of bad marketing, bad design, and really limited library.
Yeah, I had one.
It had a lot of potential. There was a lot of cool stuff there, and goodness knows that the gamepad for the Wii U had to have been the conceptual starting point for the Switch. That, at least in terms of design space, that there was stuff there and that they did learn from it, but that particular system just, it wasn't a bad system. It just was an unsupported system, I feel.
Yep.
Yeah, there were so many.
The Wii U is just, it's whatever. It was a whatever system. I at least respect. I hate Nintendo for many things, but I respect the fact that the what the fuck was the CEO tanked like his own paycheck or something to make up for the failure. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
that he took. I think it was just a $1 salary, or that he reduced his pay some very significant amount, and that certainly, in this day and age, it is not something that you see a CEO do every day.
Yeah. Oh well. What can you do? We'll see. I feel like nothing. Right now they're doing their Mario thing anyway, so when we get through that, I'll see what comes out again. There's also obviously like Smash Bros. People wanting to see if there's going to be another game. Although I kind of hope that they stay away on that one for a long time.
I don't see how you follow up Ultimate, at least in the short term. I feel like they need to give it, I almost want to say a decade. Like, minimum 5 years, because Ultimate is so good and has so much. And the fact that they did what kind of felt was unthinkable of bringing everyone back, that it's just so much. And that I can't imagine that they're going to go building that again for a while.
They just need to balance the game. It kind of pisses me off they abandoned it. They were like, oh, we're done balancing now. It's kind of like, you legit don't even need to ever... I mean, they said it was going to be their last Smash Bros. Game, but like, assuming that they'll probably do another one because of money.
Absolutely no way that it's going to be the last Smash Bros. Game. Like I said, maybe it'll be a decade, maybe it'll be a while. They're not just going to stop one of their most successful franchises of all time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I really don't think they have to make another one. at least for forever, if they just balance this one, like the reason people are gonna be upset and want a new one is because like Minecraft Steve is terrorizing the entire competitive scene and making everyone miserable, you know? And like there's a bunch of other characters that are total fucking annoyances that just make the game like too aggravating to play. It's like, just balance it, man. Just balance. Like, why is it so hard for Nintendo to
if they're
just
able to
have
port
conversation?
The reason that I think that they will inevitably make another one is I'm making the base assumption that, you know, over time as they continue to release more consoles, that fewer people are going to be playing the Switch, and I don't think that they would continue development on the Switch with balancing and other things just infinitely, and that would sort of necessitate a new game. But if you port the game, that maybe that would be the way to do it, of just, all right, we're porting all of Ultimate and that we continue to update in that way. But I don't know, that Nintendo is such an oddity as a company because they do their own thing, and to their credit, they do very well on a lot of things, but it also means that plenty of conventional development methodologies they just ignore.
Yeah, that made me, yeah, what is gonna happen when they make their new consoles and stuff, and then they eventually like stop supporting online services for the Switch? Because then Smash players just can't fucking play anymore. They pull it eventually.
Yeah,
they have to.
Sooner or later they will.
Ah, Smash Bros. Forever, baby!
That's another one of those games of just, you look at it and say, this shouldn't exist. The fact that they have all those characters and have been able to get everything built the way it is so impressive, and to have such a vast roster. I forget what the exact count is in Ultimate at the end of the day. What is it, like 70, 80? It's a lot. It's so much. And that's part of the problem of, it's not one of those fighting games where you have 24, maybe 36 characters, and that rebuilding that even from the ground up can be done, because then you also only have your 2D stages, and it's just, all right, what is the background on this stage? But that they have all the different stages, and they have all the different items, and so many different interactions, that it is a very complex game to build. And that's part of why it takes so long.
It do be taking a while.
If you could add anybody you wanted to Smash Brothers, who would you want?
Like anyone? Like, because Smash is game characters only, right? So
I will say yes,
game?
we're limited to game characters.
Fuck! My first instinct was like, TF2, oh my god, send it, but I don't want that. If I had like of all the choices, that would be maybe not the greatest. Shit.
Well, you seem to have something or someone in mind if non-video game characters were an option, so...
I would just choose an anime character, bro. Like, I was not even gonna hide it.
Okay.
just send my girl Satsuki.
I was going to say, is it just going to be Satsuki? Because we haven't talked about it yet, but I know that Kill la Kill is your favorite anime, Satsuki your favorite character. So, on the topic of Kill la Kill, I remember seeing that one as it released.
Wait. I have an answer from games.
Okay.
I have an answer from games. I would choose either the kid from Bastion or Red from Transistor, I think.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Before we move topics, that would be mine.
Unique answers there. I don't think I've heard people mention those in particular, but, you know, that Bastion and Transistor are established enough franchises that it would be considered, quote-unquote, sort of a niche edition, but, you know, they've done crazier. I could see that being a viable one. Oh, Geralt and Smash. Okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Geralt was my first thought, but then I was like, I'd probably prefer someone else, because, I don't know, I mean, he would be great, I would love him, but I love I think the designs of Kid and Red are, like, more fun, maybe? I don't know, like, yeah. I think I'd prefer they would both have good kits. I think I maybe would want Red over the kid just because I like girl. But like they both have like good weapons. They both have interesting visual designs. I think they would be really sick. And also they would bring really cool level design because Supergiant make amazing levels and amazing music. So having their music in the game too would be insane.
Yes.
I love I actually, you know, I said 5 soundtracks. I also go back and listen to those two. I mean, there's OP. I haven't played Hades yet. I want to, but like, if there was a game getting into Smash, it would probably be Hades. They would put in. But
that would make sense.
I can dream.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could also see Satsuki being pretty good. That the only complaint that she would get is it's another sword user.
No. I love swords. They're fun.
But
yeah,
Kill la
no,
Kill,
I love Satsuki. Kill la Kill, go, go, go.
I was saying I was watching that one as it was releasing, and it was the first show that was done by Studio Trigger, which is the successor to Gainax, who famously did, you know, Neon Genesis, Gurren Lagann, plenty of others. And Kill la Kill is such a wild show. Was that one that you watched as it was coming out, or did you discover it a little later?
You know what? I don't really remember. Because it came out over like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago.
It was about 10 years
like
ago
11?
now. I think it was 2014, 2013-ish.
Because I know they did their 10-year anniversary of something or another recently. It was 2013, 4th of October, so we're literally about to hit the 10-year anniversary. Hey, how's that possible? I swear to God it got celebrated like last year. Because I bought merch. Whatever. I don't know.
Sometimes they do 10th anniversaries like the full year starting at the 9th or something. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I don't honestly remember the first time I watched it. I remember like the experience of the first time I watched it, especially the first episode, because back then, obviously, like I was watching shit, you know, it's like all the basic anime. It's where they have a shot of like a character and that character talks and only the mouth is moving and nothing else is moving, and it's like, yeah, we're getting through the episode, guys, slowly but surely, and the fights would be a bit, you know, they're fine. And then Kill la Kill came out, and episode 1, it did this super fast-paced, high-action, like, none of this sitting still and hesitating on, like, people's faces for, like, a full, like, 10 to 15 seconds. It was like, if it was on a character talking, they were also, like, moving in some way, or it had the little funny gimmicks where, like, you know, maybe someone's talking and they're getting their like art piece, like their character body is getting bigger, you know, for funny memes, you know, or it's just sliding somewhere and you're just constantly getting eye candied. And it did that massive like 3D like Honoji Academy shot where it panned around the whole thing, and it was just crazy. It was like 3D, the camera was going wild. I was legit watching it blown away. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. What? I remember just, for some reason, the shot of Gamagori just sort of bursting into the classroom, just like, it's so cartoonish. Of you see the upper half of his body just sort of occupying the entirety of the front of the classroom as he sticks his head in, and just that, goodness knows, Studio Trigger is very, very good at what they do. Just high quality animation, but like you were saying, they're so expressive with their characters, and especially in this series, that they let themselves lean into the absurd in everything from character animation to the plot. As always, I feel like it's not spoilers at this point because it's 10 years old, but if it's Studio Trigger, if it's Gainax, it's aliens. It's always aliens.
Oh yeah.
It's always aliens.
No, I was gonna say I actually hate Trigger after Promare. I think Kill la Kill, whilst the second half is a little strange, it's still like good for me. I'm happy with it. Promare was like, it's just my favorite anime movie. I think that movie like hits 100%. It's just the best thing I ever watched.
That was just, they took all of the absurdity and budget that they would normally spread out over 12 or 24 episodes and just crammed it into 2 hours.
Yeah, it was so fun. The animation was great. The characters were great. It was just fun animation. And then they did Darling in the Franxx, which started out like people thought that was gonna be like the best
Yeah,
thing
it started
ever.
out really good.
It started out so good.
And the opening was amazing, and then
and then it turned into the worst anime I've ever watched in my entire life. And then it was never talked about again by anyone.
It's like, I still think it ended okay, but the drop off of where it started and where it ended is so palpable. It's just,
It was pathetic. Let's be real. Yeah, no, that sucked. And then what else did they do?
Have you seen Space Patrol Luluco?
Oh, I actually haven't. I watched a few episodes, like a few, just a few.
That's a short series that the episodes are like 7 minutes long, I think. Definitely recommend that one. It's very fun. That is peak trigger and absurdity, and they also basically, starting at like episode 5 or 6, the places that they visit are all of their own past series, thinly veiled, and that's super fun. AG Daleks in the chat mentioned several. Yeah, Little Witch Academia, BNA. Little Witch Academia is one that I point to. Just that teens or adults that it's going to be risque. They do not shy away from sexual themes. And then Little Witch Academia is just this super colorful, family-friendly. That's one of the shows where I actively suggest, if you're trying to get your 8-year-old cousin into anime, Little Witch Academia is one of the best to show them. That it's just really good, perfectly appropriate, top to bottom, very fun, and something that even I as an adult enjoyed. And don't show the 8-year-olds anything else from Studio Trigger, but Little Witch Academia, really good.
It was really good. I think I didn't enjoy the themes of the anime that much at the end, like the whole modern technology kind of removing the need for magic or whatever. I wasn't like a massive fan of the integration of technology as like an enemy for them to overcome or like work with, but overall like it was really, really solid. Like I loved it a lot. Definitely like an anime I hold in like high regard. It wasn't mentioned, but Kiznaiva fucking sucked. That was a dog shit anime.
Oh god.
Holy shit.
The fact that I had forgotten about it. Yeah.
Yep, that one, like, I loved the character designs in that one. I thought they were sick. And the first episode was so intriguing. It was like, ooh. And then you watch more and it's like incredibly boring. It ramps up to like this weird, like, it was just so weird. It was weird and bad.
Yeah. But for Kill la Kill, so just the sort of kinetic energy, what about Satsuki? Because Satsuki obviously starts out as the villain, that she's the bully. She's the one who is just the oppressor. What ended up being particularly appealing about her?
I like strong women that would bully me.
Hey, very fair, and that just Satsuki ends up the character of Satsuki ends up being so good in so many ways, and that just they allow her to occupy that, like you're saying, just strong bully character, but then also as the series goes on, they give her that depth as a character, and that she goes from being already really amazing to just being someone that you're really cheering for. And by the end of the series, that, spoiler alert, teams up with Ryuko, and that they have just there's so much there, and they end up being able to do a lot with the character. So I'm not surprised that she's a character that you enjoy, but I feel like there's so many different things to enjoy, and that's what part of what makes her so good.
Yeah, I'm a massive simp for villains in general. Like, I fucking love enemies and stuff. I love
also fair. Villains get better writing.
They're just cool. I mean, they're just... I don't know. I like evil characters. I think it's fun when they're just willing to do things that are bad. But, like, she was, like... I just thought, like, her character, her like, cold standoffishness, her, like, confidence. Oh, I loved her confidence as a character. That was great. It was kind of... like I like it when I can take things from anime and stuff, and like even though it was very exaggerated and silly and like lewd, like, you know, her whole thing of like, I don't care if I'm naked, I don't give a shit, I want power and I'm gonna do whatever I need to take it, I'm not ashamed of myself, go fuck yourself. And I was just like, you kind of take a little, right? You're like, yeah, I like appreciate how confident and like how little of a shit she gives, like I want to be more like that. I think just I liked how much of an asshole she was. I liked how strong she was. I love women characters in general, especially the women characters that are like strong and independent, right? Like she's the leader. I like that she's like the boss of other people, and I like characters that have garnered respect. It's cool to see them owning, and other people are the ones going like, oh, you're so cool. Like, and I loved her like relationship with the four divas and stuff, and like the entire council like loves her, and like seeing the backstory between them and like how she earned their respect and how she, you know, I don't know.
Gosh, I just remembered all the backstory that they give the Elite Four and everything with Satsuki. Yeah, because we don't actually get that until the second half of the season, really, or second half of the show, and that they give each of them those full episodes, and that you see how she garnered that respect and just where those characters came from and how Satsuki got involved in that. I hadn't actually sort of, I suppose, consciously realized how big of a role that ends up playing in the world building there, because you don't always get that for the secondary villain characters.
Yeah, it's just nice, and it's like when I say how much I like characters, that's the whole thing, right? I love the characters, I love them and how they interact with each other, how they fit into each other's like perception of the world, and how much they rely and care for each other and trust each other. I love, yeah, I just Sasuke's so cool, and just like even when everything turns like shit for her like determination and like strength of will is just so cool. Like, she's just so strong and cool and awesome, and she's so badass. The way she fights is sick. I love her in every way. Her like visual design is fantastic as well. I love Junketsu. I think the blue and the white look really good.
And the music in that series is, well, just phenomenal.
That's in my cycle too.
Yeah. Is it at all intentional that your design has red accents, whereas the villain character Viral is blue accented?
No. No. What do you mean?
No, definitely not inspired. No, not a reference. Couldn't be. No, certainly.
Absolutely nothing there to. It's nothing to do with Satsuki and the Viral's design. You know, in your chat, hey, wow, that's neat. He designed Viral.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Yeah, he's insane.
So, did you have the design for Viral being developed in tandem with Reya, or was that one that settled on Reya first and then Viral was after?
After, yeah. Reya took forever to make, and I didn't plan on having stories with like a villain at first. It was just gonna be like, I'm gonna do VTubing, and I'm gonna like make stories with her, and then I realized, oh, if I want to make stories, I kind of need like a villain. And I felt bad for Gabe. That's the designer's name. He did so many things for me for Reya. Like, he made Reya's original design, and then Rosuri redesigned that design. But it's like a lot stayed the same. But like, holy shit, bro, like so much stuff was drawn and like designed. I was like coming to him again like, hey, I want another character. I was like mortified. I was like, I don't want to make you take 10 years to make this new design, but I was like, I have a really solid idea of what I want. Yeah. And I sent him like a picture board of like, I want like this type of thing for the clothes, and this type of thing for this, and this type of thing for this. And then, you know, 100 million sketches later, we finally had a Viral design, but it took a long time again. But she came out so cool. I love her.
So you mentioned that you have some overarching plans for where that story will go, and that you might not have the specifics written out yet, but you have certain ideas and concepts in place. Do you anticipate that you might end up pulling any level of inspiration from Kill la Kill in terms of story, or do you think that yours is going to go more on its own path?
I don't know about Kill the Kill inspiration. That thing kind of goes fucking crazy.
It does.
Yeah, I don't even know what inspiration I could really take. Like, yeah, there's I mean, there'll probably be elements pulled from some things, maybe subconsciously. I don't know, because I haven't written it out thoroughly yet, because it's too much time to, like, I'm not a professional writer, right? So it's like, usually this thing is done by a team of people, or like one guy who spends his whole life writing, and I'm not a TV level director where I can come up with like this really cool plot and stuff. So I'm probably just gonna do what I can, and maybe if I come up with some cool ideas like randomly when I'm in a shower or something, I'll just add them in and see what happens. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I know one show that you've been watching a bit more recently is Jujutsu Kaisen. And that Oh?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, wait a minute, now I'm confused. Because I thought you'd mentioned that it was one that you were enjoying, but given that reaction, I'm not sure anymore.
Oh, well, I read the manga.
Oh.
The current season's been great, though, so far.
I have not read the manga, but I get the feeling bad things are about to happen from just like things that people who have read the manga have been saying and sort of inferring. So like I've been getting worried.
I don't know if you have. It's not like. I'm not gonna spoil, but it's. The author, I believe he is bad at writing.
Oh no!
I think he had a very good thing and he botched it in a very bad way. I think I think he might have some issues. Like the way he has treated a certain subset of character has been very appalling.
Oh,
like in a
man.
not in a I kind of like I can't believe you like killed my favorite character or something way. Like not in that way. More like this is a trend now where you are not using your characters correctly. Like, this is just kind of offensive at this point to read. Like, I don't know what you're doing. You're wasting potential of people, and, like, you're just doing a shit job. Like, what is happening? Kind of way. Like, I just have not enjoyed reading the manga now for, like, a long time.
Because, like, a series that I enjoyed the first 12 episodes for, and then it went off the rails because the writer has bad habits with a subset of characters that I know a lot of people love, but I frankly cannot stand, is Sword Art Online.
Oh, wow, yeah, it's an anime.
Yeah. Oh, no, I hope... Darn it, because I've been keeping up with Jujutsu Kaisen, at least the anime. I think I'm an episode or two behind, but mostly caught up in that, Maybe they'll adjust some things for the anime. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, though.
Well, this current season, I believe, should be one of the greatest seasons of any anime ever. I think that this was, like, peak fiction in the manga when I read it. I thought it was sick as fuck, and it should translate really well to anime. Also, I will say, like, Chainsaw Man, for example, I despised reading that. But I recognize I thought it would come out really well as a anime, and it did.
Mappa
I was really happy with the
put a lot
anime.
of time and money into that one.
Yeah, but it was I had a lot of gripes with the writing, and those gripes haven't come up in the anime yet, other than the beginning with all of the sexual stuff, which was just kind of gross and whatever. Yeah. But I look at Chainsaw Man, I'm like, okay, I don't like how he writes things, but I really like the battles, and then they should get animated. And they did, and they looked really good, and it was great. And also, I think Mappa actually extended some scenes that didn't exist in the manga to add more weight to characters before, like, I don't know, I'm assuming you've watched Chainsaw Man?
Yes, I have seen the anime, I have not read the manga.
Right, so you know, like, that one character that died?
That's not very specific. There were several.
Bro, I don't know. The one that was impactful. It was impactful.
Okay,
Come
yes.
on. Yeah. She, like, I think she kind of bit the dust a little bit quickly in the manga, but in the anime they had like that really long scene in like her house and stuff, and like they kind of put more emphasis on her before
so that wasn't
happened.
in the manga.
It was, but it was like more. It was slower in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that slowness made it better. Because my problem with Chainsaw Man is that things happen too fast and characters die too quickly where I don't feel invested in them.
Mm.
But I think the anime did a really nice job with it. So I was very happy. And JJK, I think, going forward, I think the issues that I have with it will still be there. But at least the fights will probably be really fucking cool to watch.
Yeah, if nothing else,
like
I'm sure it's going to continue to be a cool series visually, and that like you said, the fights will be really good. That Studio Mappa is at this point in time one of the top in the industry, just in terms of overall production value, in my opinion. That I hope the staff there is being treated all right, because that's something I always worry about, because you hear these horror stories about what it's like in the anime industry in Japan. And
they're
seeing stuff of that quality come out. That right now, the two top studios in terms of production quality, in my opinion, are Mappa and Ufotable, the studio that does Demon Slayer. And for me, like, I watch a lot of anime, and that I do keep up with some shonens. That obviously these two, but those aren't even my favorite series. But I will acknowledge that from a visual and production standpoint, that is the best stuff being put out right now. And, like, I don't know if you've seen Demon Slayer, but starting with season 2, they're working with, like, production levels that I would expect from a movie on a week-in and week-out basis.
Yeah. Demon Slayer is incredibly impressive. It's, like, the main... I don't know, a lot of people say, oh, it's all, like, flash and no substance, but I don't agree with that. I actually think the characters are some of the most, like... Well, I fucking hate Zenitsu. That guy can go fucking suck one.
I don't know many people that like him.
Really? I know a lot of people that like him. I'm in the minority of hating him, actually, in my
don't worry, you're in good company here. Just...
Oh, thank God. Yeah, like, one of the worst anime characters to ever exist, actually.
I acknowledge that you want some good comedic relief, but hey, we have other comedic relief, and we have comedic relief that does it better.
Inosuke? He's comedic relief.
Exactly. That's the thing. He's good comedic relief. That I can get behind. All right, this guy is just kind of meat-headed, and he's gonna go crazy and be very aggressive and stuff. I do not care for sniveling, annoying characters who then also on the side are just kind of pervy. Like, I don't know if you read My Hero Academia, but Mineta is probably one of my least favorite characters of all time. I cannot stand him. If he has any plot relevance, they haven't gotten to it in the anime yet, and that he is a character that I look at and say, I would enjoy the series more if this character did not exist. I do not think they bring anything to the table. And Zenitsu, he has some redeeming qualities. Like, I'm not going to say he's completely worthless as a character, but he's by far my least favorite character, and it is not close.
Yeah, I can't remember the My Hero guy's name, but I agree. He's like useless, and like he's annoying and useless, but he's like a side character.
Yeah.
Whereas Zenitsu's annoying because he takes up more space.
Yeah, he is a secondary character. He is getting a lot of screen time.
Yeah, fuck Zenitsu. Oh, Gabe, come on, bro. Come on. It's so bad, dude.
When your character is improved by being asleep, you have a problem.
Yes, what? I think having a cowardly character is fine because it makes sense. Because Demon Slayer is just set in a world that's terrifying, and like I would be the same. I would cry.
I'm totally okay with there being a cowardly character or someone who is just having to deal with fear. That can be a very compelling piece of storytelling right there. There are ways to do it other than this. Other than
screaming. He's just annoying. He just interrupts like a good scene to scream. And that's it. It doesn't change. It's just, oh, here's Zenitsu again. Is he gonna cry and scream? Or is he gonna like fucking try and shag my boy Tanjiro's sister,
or
like
heaven
brother?
forbid experience character growth?
Yeah.
Like, if he started out like that, and that, for first season or so, like however many episodes, be like that, and then near the end of the season that we see him have some sort of growth and that he is still scared, but that he acknowledges his fear and work that into his character and maybe tone down the screaming a little bit along the way. It's the fact that he has just kept that consistency and not felt like he's grown on that particular axis that is so frustrating.
Yeah, I 100% think he'll get the growth, but it's
taking too long. If you're improving your character by literally having them be asleep, you've written your character poorly.
Also, I loved the last season because he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't know. He's just... I hate his character. I can't stand pervy characters. The only one I accept is Jiraiya. But other than that, I fucking hate... And that is only because Jiraiya had so much more depth, bro.
Yeah,
like, he did so much stuff. He had character relationships, he had backstory, he was very, like, involved with multiple characters and had, like, meaningful conversations. He had moments where he was very serious and, like, really, like, puts aside the lewd perversion to kind of, like, I'm taking things more seriously now. We're gonna, it's good. It's good!
Yeah, that it's not his entire character. It is something that, okay, when you have the moment for comedic relief, that's where that particular character will go for comedic relief. And not my favorite still, but that at the very least it is not their total defining personality trait that is brought into every word they speak.
Yeah. When I can boil a character down to like 2 lines, or 2 things even, it's just pathetic. I don't know. I have another issue in Naruto right now with a character like that, and he's a main antagonist and it's fucking ruining the show. But
wait, is Naruto now an antagonist?
No, like in the show Naruto. Like I'm watching Shippuden right now.
Oh, okay.
And they've been fighting... I'm watching the war where they're fighting Obito and Madara, and Obito might be one of the worst written antagonists I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, I thought we were talking about Boruto because I haven't seen any Boruto, but I know there's dinosaurs and lasers or something apparently, and that it's really gone wild over there. I don't know what's happening, but I saw a screenshot with dinosaurs, and I thought it was a joke, and apparently it's not.
Oh, well, I don't know what's going on in Boruto land. I refuse to accept it as real.
But I do know you are a big fan of Naruto.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The closer I get to the end of Shippuden, the more I feel like I'm just a Naruto, like, the first half fan and less of a Shippuden fan. There's been some really redeeming moments and some really, really, really bad moments in it, so I don't know.
Do you have any favorite characters in the series? That we've gone through the ones that you don't care for as much, but on the positive side, which ones do you really enjoy?
My favorite is Orochimaru in Naruto. He's so cool. I used to be really shy about that because people don't like him very much, or like they think he's weird, which he is. He's really weird. But like I would say that I liked him and people would be like, "You're weird for liking him. He's weird and you're weird." And I would be like, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna mention him much." And then nowadays I'm just like, "Yeah, I fucking love this guy, bro. I love snake-themed characters. They're sick as fuck. He's amazing. Not only does he own in the first half of the show, like pre-time skip, like he fucking owns. He literally kills a fucking Hokage, right? Like he's
a threat. He is the first time in the series where the good guys truly lose.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like he waged a war. He didn't destroy the village, but whatever. He killed the Hokage. He fucked shit up. He successfully manipulated Sasuke. I mean, I hate Sasuke, but like, you know, he got what he wanted, and killed people and did sick things, and he was like actually a fucked up character, right? Like he was legit evil. He killed innocent people. He's like got this demented past. I like that they had Anko in there and introduced like a past, you know, like, oh, here's someone in the village that was directly affected by him, like by proxy of like, you know, they're kind of an innocent person and he like ruined their life a bit, you know, giving them the seal, whatever. And then you also have like the background of like, oh, he was related to like the Hokage and like Tsunade and Jiraiya, and when they get introduced you have the whole Sannin arc when they try and get Tsunade to be the next Hokage, and like that was really cool as well. So like getting him and having him doing all these things and just being there and being evil was fucking sick. And then like obviously shit, it was kind of sad in the second half when he becomes like a back character, like he doesn't
he gets
do
sort
anything.
of relegated. That I watched all of the first half of Naruto and got a couple arcs into Shippuden, wound up dropping it after a time, just sort of couldn't keep up. I acknowledge it for what it is in terms of just sort of historically, especially in the West, but also, in Japan, that it's now, I think, 20 years of the anime, 25 years of the manga, or it's up there in that it is another one of those series that means a lot to a lot of people, and I always appreciate that, even if something's not quite my cup of tea. And just, I hope the folks that are watching Boruto enjoy it, that, I acknowledge that we're not in the target demographic anymore, that it's very much meant for, the young teenage boys, and that the addition of dinosaurs is a weird one for sure, but then again, think about it, like, what do kids like? And I don't think it's a gender-specific thing. Dinosaurs are cool. And ninjas and dinosaurs, conceptually, you look at this and say, all right, that's really freaking absurd, but that's kind of cool. Would I necessarily want it in Naruto? But whatever. That respect to them for continuing to do their own thing, and that hopefully the folks that are watching are enjoying.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah.
Do you have any series that have either finished or that got discontinued that you would want to see more of?
Yeah, I really want to see a second season of Dorohedoro. That fucks me up every time.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, I loved it.
Sell me on Dorohedoro, because I still don't actually know much about it. I know it's gritty and that it's got these weird monster dudes, but somehow that one just kind of went under my radar, so I don't really know about it.
I know it off-put a few people because of the animation style was a bit unconventional. It's like 3D stuff, I think. But I
can overlook most 3D. That if it's going to be a good story and good characters, that I'm very much like you, that's what I prioritize. So if it got your attention, that means it did something right. What did it do right?
It has extremely compelling characters. It's the I don't know, like everyone, you kind of like everyone. I think something that I treasure a lot in any story is when you feel things for the good guys and the bad guys. So the show doesn't just follow the quote-unquote good guys, it also shows a lot of the antagonist people and like what they're up to, and it shows them in like, it's not just them when they're killing people, it's also them in maybe a little bit more like casual setting, and you kind of really feel for like them as people, and you get into like their relationships. There's like a female and a male character who are kind of intertwined a little bit on the bad guy side, and you get, you love them. You're like, I love these guys.
You want to see how their lives and their relationship goes.
Exactly, and I just think that that's like my favorite thing. It's when it shifts to someone else, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I think the whole concept was very fun, of like the powers and the mystery. Like, it's a mystery, right? So you kind of want to know what this mystery is about. Yeah. I think there's a lot of really good humor in it. Like, there's some comic relief.
Series? I don't think it's very long. I think it's like 12, 24 maybe. It's only...
I don't remember.
Shouldn't be too long.
12.
Okay, yeah.
It's so good. I want never. It's not fair. It's because it's fucking made by shit. Who the fuck did Dorohedoro? Wasn't it Mappa?
It might
be.
be.
Yeah, it was. It was fucking Mappa. So I look at Mappa doing JJK, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan. I'm like, fuck! They don't have time for fucking Dorohedoro anymore.
Yeah.
No!
We're finally actually going to get Attack on Titan final season, the final chapters, part 2, the actual last thing.
I don't give a shit. I read the manga. I don't
okay.
care.
I have not read the manga. I've been watching the anime. I picked it up like halfway through season 1 and have watched consistently since. And I have to say that Final Chapters Part 1 was some of the best anime I've ever seen. Like, have you seen that at all?
I watched season 1, skipped season 2, skipped season 3, joined in again for the final season.
Okay, and have you seen the final chapters? Like, it was an hour-long one released some time ago. I think it was like
maybe
a couple months, a year ago. That
probably.
Yeah, the finale is basically 2 short movies, and I definitely encourage that you seek out Final Chapters Part 1. The opening 10 minutes is probably the most brutal 10 minutes of anime I've ever seen, period.
Yeah.
It's Mappa doing what they do and really being able to pull and convey the weight of what's happening in the rumbling.
Yeah, I don't know. I was so uninvested in the plot of that show at the end. Like, the politics stuff totally bored me. I didn't care at all. So I tuned in for like some of the fightings. Well, I mean, I watched the episodes of the final season, but like when it was doing the politics part, I was like, I don't care, kill Titans. And then it did some cool action stuff. I was like, yeah, kill Titan, Titan fight, yoo-hoo! My favorite character died, and I got mad.
Oh, I'm gonna guess your favorite character.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna put it in our chat because it's still new enough that I don't want to spoil.
All right, that's my new favorite character after the first one died. They both died. Both my favorite characters died.
So was I right on the
second one is no. Although they were my third favorite character who also died.
Okay, I'm curious. Who was the favorite then? Type
it was really old at this point, so maybe I can just say it.
Okay, if it's an early one, then yeah. If it's not like in one of the last seasons.
Ymir was my favorite.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was she was a side character. What can you do?
Yeah. Nobody is safe in that series, side characters least of all.
Yeah, but the other two, then I grew very strongly towards the first one you mentioned, and then I was like, oh well, fuck me, I guess. I have a Nendoroid of them on my table next to me.
Ah.
I love. Oh, you know what? That is a thing. I fucking love. Oh wait, I can't say this without spoiling. I'm gonna. I can't. Okay, well, I'll just type it to you, but I don't know if we can have a conversation without spoiling
well, I guess,
someone.
So, also, if this happens like at the end, remember, I still haven't. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think you can say that pretty easily because it's non-specific enough, and that it is you like eye patches, and we won't say who gets an eye patch, but that eye patches are cool.
They're sick. I love Beto from Genshin Impact. I love Quan Chi from Chainsaw Man. I love Valmet from Jormungand. I love many eye patch people. It's one of my favorite things. What was it? There was like that lesbian character from The Boys at the very end of the show. She got an eye patch. My friends were like, actually, they groaned so hard when she came out. I would literally start screaming.
Oh my goodness. We've been at this 2.5 hours already, and I know you have a lot on your plate that you actually had meant to stream earlier today, but overslept a bit because you were working on a project, because you have a lot cooking that even though you just debuted, that you are already working on a lot of new stuff. So I'm really excited to see what you do from here. I have just a couple last questions that I ask all my guests. And the first is, do you have any goals for the rest of 2023? That we're now in October, so last quarter of the year, is there anything that you're hoping to accomplish before 2024, whether it be getting another stream of a particular type done, a project, anything of that nature? What do you want to get done before 2024?
I would like to organize an Apex tournament for VTubers.
Ooh.
That's my big one that I want to do.
I know that you will get plenty of interest in that.
Hopefully. I wanted to do it with Beast Coast, and actually have a prize pool. So that was like something I wanted to do and run, because I wanted to I wanted to kind of put myself out there a bit. You know, I think it's nice to do things for. I like it when VTubers do things for like VTubers, you know, and I don't know if like giving back is the right word, because like in some ways, yeah, because I spent a lot of time like watching streams and stuff, and it's like I love these people and I want to be able to give them something. But it's also more, it's more like, I don't know, I just think it's, the more people that do big events, the better it is, because everyone gets to take part and like have fun.
It is
and
rising tide lifts
sick.
all ships proposition.
Yeah, I think that stuff is sick, and it's cool because, you know, it's just like the concept of a collab, right? It's like you get to see your favorites interacting with each other, and you know, if I can make an Apex tournament where someone can watch their two favorite streamers kill each other, that's great.
Yeah.
But I know the Rixa one was done recently, which I didn't know about because I've been planning mine for like a few months now. But I saw the Rixa one was done recently, invitational, and that went over pretty well. Thing is, I don't really have like the connections to reach out to people, so we'll see how I'm gonna do it. But that one was pretty successful. A lot of people watched it on all the different streams. It looked really fun. Everyone looked like it was a good time, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that you'll be able to actually reach more people than you anticipate. That, for all its faults, social media is definitely going to be good for that, and I'm sure that if you get a couple folks that you already know would be interested, like 3, 4, 5 people, and just make sure that they retweet when you do that, things will proliferate relatively quickly, and that my guess is that you will actually have a problem of too many people being interested. That I think those types of things can end up getting a lot of responses very quickly.
It makes sense, yeah. Especially if there's a prize pool involved. I do want to make it like different though. Like when it comes to, you can't really balance these tournaments without like a shit ton of effort.
Yeah,
so
it can be very tough. That you don't necessarily want one pro or semi-pro coming in and just mopping everyone else. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of hard though. It's like balancing what people want. It was the biggest hard question for me. Like, can I, if you do it solely based on like actual tournament where it's like placement and kills, you're just gonna have an issue where the people with the best pros are gonna win, and you can't like ban pros because like you have really good VTubers that are just good at the game, right?
Yeah.
And that's just how it be. And those people are gonna play the game more often, and like those are the people you want to make a tournament for in the first place because it's like it's their game. So it's like, okay, then can I do like a bounty system and have more money in bounties, which is I think what we might be settling on. But then it becomes like, are they gonna want to do the bounties? You know, it's like, can I put enough money in them where it makes people want to do it, but like you don't want to be annoying because some people, they don't want high effort, they just want to like show up and just play, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to have to fiddle with like, okay, let's try and do this thing, and then we have to like record that we did it and like post it in a Discord or something, and it's like,
maybe the case, and I'm not sure what the proper way to do this is, that I've organized some big collabs. I have my annual charity marathon, which you will definitely be getting an invite to in the coming months, but I haven't done anything like a competitive event before, so my sort of knee-jerk reaction is first gauge interest, and then once you have your pool of interested people, just poll them directly, and just you at that point have the people that you know are at least invested and taking the initiative enough to respond to a first post and say, yes, I want to be in a event that is being run, and then figure out from there, all right, what do they want? And that way it can at least statistically you will get whatever the most people want. Yeah. And that if some folks choose to drop out based on a given system, they at least know that and can sort of understand, all right, this is why this decision was made. But who knows, that's me completely spitballing, but I look forward to seeing whatever form that tournament takes.
Maybe just YOLO it and just do it, fucking bounties scuffed, and then if everyone hates it, then we just change it the next time. Yeah.
And the last question I ask all my guests is, what does being a VTuber mean to you? And that's not what is the definition of a VTuber, but that, like I mentioned earlier, there isn't a wrong way to be a VTuber, that some folks limit themselves very much to their character, others are a bit more open. Some have said, being a VTuber lets me get in touch with my inner child, or it lets me be someone I can't be in real life. Others have said, I don't have a personal connection with my model, but I consider it a tool as a content creator, a mask that I get to wear as a performer, and I wouldn't want to perform without this mask, or I think this mask allows me to perform better than I could with a face cam. And those are very different emotional responses, and whether it's in between or even beyond those, there, like I said, isn't a wrong answer to it. So for you, Reya, what does being a VTuber mean to you?
For me, being a VTuber is like a vehicle to pursue my creative interests in a way that I feel is more controllable and fun. Like when you use yourself, right? It's like branding's a little harder because I think a lot of people would rather have a shirt with an anime character on it than like some streamer's face, just because it's less like, I don't know, it's less weird. It's like a character. It's cool to have characters. Having some random guy's face is a little strange. I mean, people still do it, but whatever, I'm rambling. The point is, I just think that it's cooler to have a controllable brand and creative ideas and stuff you can do with like characters than it is to do with real life. And I think VTubing is like perfect for it and really cool and really fun and a great way to like be creative with like streaming and making content. Like, I don't know. I just think some of the stuff I do on my stream is like, it just works much better with a VTuber, and that is super fun for me. But I also think that like VTubing is like, I don't, maybe this is like slightly controversial, but like I think people put too much stock in like VTubers being like a collective. I don't think they are, especially indie. I think you should treat VTubing less as like VTubing and more as just streaming. Stop trying to be like a good VTuber or like apply restraints to yourself, like, oh, VTubers should be this or VTubers shouldn't be this and should be that and stuff. Like, I think you should just be a streamer and just try and be entertaining and just use your model to make stuff that is fun to watch and be good, and don't be like, oh, I have to work only with VTubers. Like, just work with people, just be a good streamer, be a fun streamer. I think that would make a lot of people less stressed because they would stop caring so much about like VTuber specific stuff, which I think is the wrong approach.
Yeah, that I always ask that question at the end of the show because, one, it helps sort of put a bow on everything, but two, while I never know exactly how someone will answer, the answers always make sense, and that for you, going perhaps the more clinical approach of that it is a tool for you as a content creator and being able to control your brand, that it makes a bunch of sense for all the things that we've talked about today, and that, simply because you have allowed yourself to transition from facecam and other content into being a VTuber while being open about that, but also now having the focus be on Reya is one of those things that not everybody does that, but that you can, that it, like you said, I don't think it's terribly controversial to say that VTubing is just content creation, that VTubing can still be just making YouTube videos. You don't need to stream. A lot do, but that's not a prerequisite, certainly, and that I think a lot of the perhaps mental baggage of some people pigeonholing themselves into certain mentalities with VTubing comes from it being a early and emerging form of content creation, that the community used to be so small that there were only a couple of people, so the points of reference sort of almost became self-fulfilling at that point. And now that it has grown so much, and that I think in 5-ish years, I think having a VTuber model, just a baseline model, even if it's not a custom one, a stock model, will be considered baseline tools for any content creator. That if you're streaming, all right, you want to defy the laws of gravity today, that you have your VTuber model queued up in OBS, or that if you want to have a different comedy bit for something, that you can do that. And that I think not only for VTubers themselves being able to open their minds to broader content creation methodologies and philosophies, that I think non-VTubers need to open their minds to using a VTuber model and realizing you can use a model once a week, once a month, whenever the heck you feel like it, maybe for 5 minutes a stream, and that it can just be a thing that you use, and that it doesn't have to be your entire brand. But if you want to, it can be. And that's part of why I like VTubers so much, and that I myself, obviously, I've painted myself into a corner here with the brand, with the show, but that I'm able to invite so many different people with so many different interests and styles and approaches to content creation, to VTubing, that I'm not particularly worried about running out of people or interesting stories. So, but to your points, I'm very much in agreement. I think that a lot of people have been broadening their horizons and their minds to things, and I think we will continue to see that. I certainly hope we will. So, Again, Reya, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone in chat. I know I don't pay attention to chat too much, but I have seen you all here. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether it was from the beginning of the show or just hopping in somewhere along the line. I did miss Christian MS2608. Thank you so much for the follow. One actual last question.
Dude, hold on, that guy. Christian's so base. Christian made my backgrounds for most of my stream. Like this one right now I'm on. Yeah, Christian's a goat.
Yeah. So definitely, if you want to see those backgrounds and more of Reya, if for some crazy reason you aren't already following her, please be sure to do so. Links are here at the bottom of the screen in the channel panels if you're watching on Twitch, and they'll be in the video description if you're watching the VOD on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That's as far as I go as, being a good content creator and such. But hope you all enjoyed. Reya, do you have someone you'd like us to raid?
Raid?
While she looks around, I'll do some last housekeeping, though. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I do these shows about once a week. I don't have a particular broadcast schedule. I try and schedule around the guests, so if you want to keep up with me, you can just follow me here on Twitch or Twitter. It's just Vtuber Talk both places. I'm going to give Reya one last shout out here. There we go. And we're going to be looking around for someone to raid. And
You should raid Lizardo too. This guy hates anime. It would be funny. It would be funny if everyone went in there and just found some IIS anime raid.
Alright, yes, so let them know that Reya sent you and spam some emotes. Be sure to say hello. And again, Reya, thank you, and thank you everyone in chat. So this has been actually episode 126 of Vtuber Talk. So hopefully you all had a good time. Thank you so much, Reya. I will see you around, and to everybody in chat, I hope to see you all again next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.